you will never heal internal wounds with external accomplishments. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I literally sat back in my seat, looked around, paused the podcast, played it again, and I was like, I understand myself completely now.
You are now tuning in to the Relentless Project. Real people, real stories, real life.
Do I ever really know anyone before they come on here and then we all
Become friends.
Close, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what happened here. All right.
You got that? You got that figured out?
Yeah, I think so.
You're struggling there for a second.
Yeah. Everything's always a struggle for me at first, you know? Look at this.
What is it? You don't have to be perfect to start.
Yeah. How come I'm not as healthy as you? You got the vitamin one or I got the regular?
Actually, you're more healthy. I know you're probably in prep or something. You just devoured it.
How many grams of sugar we got in that?
Who?
I don't even want to know. I'm going to get, can I guess?
Yeah.
I saw it's 90 calories. I'm going to guess it's 20 grams of sugar.
23 grams of sugar.
I might have saw it and kind of lied that I didn't.
Damn. You saw that too.
I think so.
Honesty is good here.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I'll be sipping this for the rest of the day then.
Oh, that's
no,
good.
see, like, here's a perfect example. I don't even know what we're going to get into today. We're free balling this episode for everyone.
That's the best way to do it.
I'll just do the intro while we're running it. We're running it. This is another one with David Kelly. He was episode 58, which came out November 4th, I believe.
Yeah, like 10 months ago.
Yeah, and since then, we've just become friends.
Yeah, that's right. We linked up down in Florida. It was solid.
Dude, that was I love Florida.
Oh, yeah.
But
how can you not?
Now you're back here.
Back here for a little bit, yeah.
For the winter.
No. Okay. Absolutely not. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. It's September right now. I'll be here probably till a little after Thanksgiving. That's about it. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, man, usually people leave during this time.
Well, usually, you not being there in the summer. But anyway, yeah. I love that you upgraded, got this going on here. It's made some improvements since I've been here. You know?
Oh, dude, that's the game of life, right?
That's right.
Constantly improve.
That's the name of the
This
game.
appears healthy, right? It's marketed as healthy.
Yeah.
It's always in the health section next to the waters.
Well, that's the problem. Like a lot of stuff that people think is healthy is just loaded with a bunch of shit, you know? And like, that's a great example of that. Like, even if you look at the back of that, like if you were just browsing through and you had no clue and you're like, oh, this only has 90 calories. Well, the problem is like most of it's coming from straight sugar, you know?
So
which is crazy that
it says carbs, 23 grams.
Yeah. So
the sugar's from carbs.
Well, let me say it real quick.
It's the same. It's carbs 23, sugar 23.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, people, when you look at, like, so if you look at a label for food of any kind, like a drink or whatever, you always want to look. Sometimes it'll say total, like that says total sugars, and then it'll say added sugars, right? So sometimes you're gonna have, let's say, some natural drink, like fruit drink or something. It might have natural sugar in it, but you always want to look at what's the added sugar, right? See, in that one, it's all added sugar, right? So there's not really any natural sugar, but sometimes I'm not trying to rip this apart. I'm just saying, like,
all right,
it is a good thing for people to see, yeah, chug that. It's a good thing for people to understand because there are some foods like, you know, fruits and things like that do have natural sugars in them. There's nothing wrong with it. Like that stuff gets demonized a lot. There's nothing wrong with that. It's added sugars that's the problem.
That's an interesting point. I worked with the guy he would eat rice and chicken, and then on his cheat day, he'd have like 13 sugar cookies. Every day he had a coffee that was this big with 12 pumps of sugar.
Exactly.
So it's like, like you're undoing everything. But that to be said, it's so misleading because if you want to hydrate, but you don't like water,
right?
You'll grab these. Let's say you take the recommended, what is it? How many? 8 cups of water a day?
Yeah, that depends on your size, right? Like a good general thing that I tell people is think of like an ounce per your pound of body weight, right? So if you're 200 pounds, 200 ounces of water, you know, you'd have to do some, I don't know off the top of my head, like usually a glass of water is like 8 ounces.
Let's say for people out there like me, 4 bottles of water.
So this bottle of water is 17 ounces, right? So like, let's just say it's 80 ounces. That's not really that much, right? Like if you really think about it, 80 ounces of water is not that much. Like I would say, let's say how much do you weigh, like roughly?
Actually, I know exactly because I was in Vegas and I stepped on this huge scale.
Asking you like you're a female.
225.
Yeah. Okay, you're 225. So like you would probably, to really be optimal, I'd say you'd want like 8 of these a day.
Okay, so 8.
Yeah.
How many calories are in water?
0.
0.
Yeah.
If you replace water with this because this tastes better,
you're gonna have
8 times 90 calories.
You're at like 720 calories of just straight sugar.
Of just liquid.
Just liquid. That's what people are constantly pulling. Like so many people drink so many calories, right? Like whether it's like coffees or especially I see this all the time with women. Like they drink so many calories through coffees and
dude, a Starbucks latte or something. I was looking at that. I was like, man, that's like almost your recommended daily intake.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then you take someone, let's say it's like a smaller female, and she's 130 pounds, and you drink a 400 calorie thing from Starbucks. That's probably on the lower end of stuff. I mean, you're at like a quarter a quarter of your daily calorie intake right there
with a coffee,
just straight from sugar and fat. It's nothing. There's nothing really good in that.
You gotta have a cake pop too.
I had a girl send me yesterday. She sent me something that Starbucks is trying to put protein in their drinks. So I'm thinking like, okay, that's still not going to do anything for, you can make like, I tell people this all the time, especially people I've coached, like if you like that sugary stuff or whatever, that's fine. You can go get all these syrups and stuff like that, make it your house or even get Starbucks or whatever, put it in there and it's 0 calories, Like I'm not saying this stuff's the best thing for your health, but it's way better.
We're looking at calorie intake and
And I mean like this really gets into like, and people don't understand this is how many problems are made from diabetic related disease. Like if you drink your calories like that and eat like that, let's say like somebody that likes drinking just like Coca-Cola, right? You're talking like 50 grams of sugar just right in that little can.
What about hypothetically someone who likes to drink Sprite?
Okay, it was similar, very similar thing, right? Any of those pops, right? Sodas, whatever you want to call it. We call it pop here in
I call it soda because in Spanish it's soda.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's probably the legit term. But that kind of stuff, everything. When people talk about like disease states and stuff like that, like once you like type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle inflicted thing over years and years and years and years, right? And it's a compounding thing. Once you get that, everything else from there is way harder to manage, right? Like there's a huge correlation between people getting that and then having kidney problems and heart problems and all that other stuff because diabetes in a lot of ways, type 2, right? Type 1 is a way different thing. That's like, they shouldn't even really be the same, type of labeling because one of them is like a type 1 diabetic is born that way. They can't regulate their own insulin production and manage their blood glucose without insulin is what I mean. But somebody that has type 2, it's just usually from lifestyle that's inflicted on that, right? For years and years. It's not what you do. It's not drinking that one time, right? It's drinking that multiple times a day for 20 years. Like that's where it really becomes a problem for people, right?
So how do you know a lot about this? For those who haven't seen your previous
I'm not a doctor.
episode,
Like, I should spend, I'm not a doctor to be clear, but like I am,
Dr. Kelly.
I've had a nutrition certification stuff, which is different than a registered dietitian. I should also say that I've learned a lot of this through just like programs and courses I've taken and stuff like that from registered dietitians and people like that. Whether it's like learning to read blood work or how to spot that stuff, just nutrition stuff, but also just life experience. Like I really think that a lot of, especially with artificial intelligence today, like you can learn so much. If you want to learn about something, you can learn all about it. Right?
It's like AI has become the new Google.
Right. Like I've learned so much. A lot of what I've learned what I coach people with, whether it's in this stuff or mindset, and we can get into all that in a little bit, is just from my own experience, like mistakes I've made, things I've learned, whether that's coaching other people, but mainly with myself or, certifications and things I've gone through. But I think experience is the best teacher. I really do. Like, because if you learn something, right? Like do you read it all?
Yes.
Okay. Like, but think like, what kind of stuff do you read?
So I like to read either like nonfiction, like motivational books or like financial savvy books or I've started looking into like kind of like memoirs of people that I've looked up to, have heard about.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the process of reading Ed's book. So
is that someone that was on here?
yeah,
Nice.
he's a boxer. Well, he's back into boxing, but he released this book, which I will plug. It's too small, but Ed Lattimore's book. Ed Lattimore's book. Look it up.
Let me see if I can see it.
Yeah.
It's something hard lessons. Something hurt business.
Yeah, hard
can't
lessons.
read that.
Basically, he talks about his time in like boxing when he
Right.
was heavy into it, and all the lessons he's learned from life. That dude grew up in inner city, fought addiction, all that stuff, and very very. I call him a prestigious boxer, and he laughed in my face because he doesn't agree with that. But very
Humble.
great boxer. Yeah, very humble.
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, the reason I asked about the reading thing is because to me, when you read something you want to read because you're interested in learning about it, you then can digest more of it because you actually care, and then you start to apply that into your life. That's how you learn, right? Because you don't learn just by reading something. You have to read it, understand it, and then apply it. If you don't have reasons to apply things, like I couldn't tell you 95% of what I learned in high school in my upper level science classes or what. Like I don't remember.
Dude, I took Calc 2 at one point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You put a math problem in front of me, I'm Googling
I
it.
tested out of math in college. Like I did college credit classes in high school for math, and I tested out. I haven't done math in like 13, 14 years. I really couldn't do half this stuff. Like if I had a kid and they were like, "Hey, help me with," I'd be like, "I don't
That's the same to my daughter. Can you help me with this? I'm looking at the fractions. I'm like, how do you divide fractions again?
Yeah, and
I'm like
also,
looking it up.
why even learn that? I mean, you can just do it here, right? Like I think it's just
I think it's good to stimulate the brain,
Sure.
and like math is what better way to stimulate your brain than putting a bunch of hieroglyphics in front of you and telling you to solve for X. I don't know,
Right.
But yeah, I was told in school. I was told in school, you're not going to have a calculator everywhere you go.
no.
I wish I could look at that situation like I got a computer.
Not
in my
only do
pocket.
I have that, I actually have something that will solve everything for me right on my phone. It's called ChatGPT.
Yeah, like literally all the world's issues solved right here.
Right here. But it's interesting you bring up the addiction thing. So with that guy, how long has he been clean? Just out of curiosity, do you know off the top of your head?
Lot of years.
Yeah.
A lot of years. I am not even going to go into there. I was going to talk about his age, but I don't think I know it, and I don't want to offend him.
No. You're good. I was just curious.
For a while, and and he talks about. Dude, I've spoken to a lot of people too, and like this addiction topic has come up a lot. And I just had Andrew Pala on here, Pala, and he distinctioned a reference of sobriety, and I forget how he worded it, but basically said, one, you choose to completely rid of it from your life, and the other, you learn to control it in moderation so it no longer has that addicting effect on you where you always need it. He distinguished between that, and I was like, that's actually very interesting, because when we think of sobriety, we think like alcohol, first thing that pops in my mind. I haven't had alcohol, not me. I just had alcohol in Vegas. But I'm responsible
in your consumption.
Not with gambling, I found out. That
Different kind of addiction.
Yeah, but so when you choose to rid of it from your life, it's because, or not saying, but generally it's because when you're in it, it's hard to kind of deal with what happens when it's in your system. When you learn to control it, it no longer has that hold on you.
All right.
So it was like very interesting when he was talking about it, and other people I've talked to about it, because I've never seen it that way. When I hear sobriety, I'm like, oh, you haven't
completely
gone.
Yeah.
But some people it's, well, no, I only have, one drink at dinner once a month. And it's like, oh.
And if you can do that.
That's what I'm saying. If you can do that, you've learned that you've conquered that to the point where you can dip your toes in the water and not jump in, which is hard for a lot of people, especially with alcohol, because it's one of the only things, not only things, but that you can die from withdrawal.
It's crazy.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, it's insane. The reason I brought that up is because I've done a lot of, I actually kind of finished it, but I'm not done with it. I've been writing a book, and I also was building a course that I'll talk about in a little bit. But the reason I brought it up is because a lot of what drove me to write that book and kind of pivot how I'm working with men now is my friend who I think I brought this up last time I was on here, who I found in his apartment dead of a drug overdose. And that was 5 years ago. Now I can't believe that, but that was like the COVID year. And I spent a lot of time thinking about how somebody gets to that point, right? Like, how does a man get to that point? And I think there's a very, very complex combination of upbringing and your own personality and biology and your genetics, like predisposition, like especially things like alcoholism. Like, some people are just more prone to it. You can see in the brain with scans and stuff. But I think when we talk about addiction, it's not just drugs and substances. It's also, you see this a lot with people like really struggle with food. Like when we're talking about sugar and stuff, like people really cope. People are coping through substances, alcohol, drugs, avoidance, right? Distracting with the other sex, like women, men. There's a lot of different ways. Porn. Yeah. Like there's a lot of ways you can cope. And actually, I work with a couple guys now on this specific kind of stuff. And what's really interesting is I find specifically, I have a lot of these guys now that are like mindset clients, like masculine clients. Like I've also worked with them for physique stuff, but all of them struggle with this one thing. And I really think this is the root for every single man on the planet. They don't have some sort of larger purpose in life, right? And if you think about it, what masculine energy is it's penetrative. Like we penetrate the world. If you think about what men are, I mean, literally going down to your anatomy.
Hell of a choice of words, man.
But no, that's the reason I'm saying it. It's because even down to your biology, you are born to penetrate the world, literally, like sexually, spiritually, energetically, everything, right? And the problem is that when men don't have a means to express that correctly, they turn it inward on themselves. That's where a lot of mental health problems come from. That's where a lot of addiction comes from. I believe this. And I think there's actually really good evidence to support this. Like I remember years ago reading that they've had really good success in, I think it's Switzerland, where they take people that are drug addicts, they put them into like housing and they get them linked up with like a psychologist, psychiatrist, and then also somebody to help them find meaningful work, right? And these people have really good success with overcoming their addiction, like really, really, really good success. I don't remember the exact numbers in this study. This is probably 5, 6, 7 years ago I read about this. And that makes sense to me, right? Because the hole you have in your life, it's getting filled with something. It's like every man I've ever known who doesn't have passions and things that they are deeply, deeply connected to and feel motivated to get out of bed in the morning, they will fill it with something. Sometimes that something is going to be less destructive stuff. It could be just being an avid sports fan or sports betting or something like that. Or it could be fentanyl, right? And the costs of those things are very different, but it still comes back to a lack of meaning and purpose in their life. And that's why I personally have pivoted more towards helping guys on deeper levels, because I can't tell you how many guys I've coached that it's like they improve their physique, but they got like 20 more problems now. It's like, we're not fixing the root.
You see this a lot too, and with the gym bros, right? Yeah. Like I get confused as a gym bro. I go to the gym, bro.
Right.
That's about
right.
it.
No, that's yeah.
But I see, you see this online. It's like, oh, well, how's his anger? How's this? How's this? A lot of people use the gym as an escape, right? And yeah, you look great, but there's still something that you're not conquering. You're not grabbing. And if you don't have that, you can look great, but are you being great? And are you doing great? So it's cool that you're linking like the physical and mental stuff together, which it's funny because when people talk about mental health, go to the gym, go run, get into, like they push you. Anytime you see someone who talking about motivation, it's gym related.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But like how many people are linking the two? And like, I'm going to give you physique advice, which I would say you're qualified. I try to wear my tightest shirt to try to like combat.
I tried to find a light. I don't want, I like, that's the thing. Once you start growing, you don't want to wear tight shirts, but this is like,
no, I know. So like for me, I'm so short. So like if I get a bigger shirt, it's so long and baggy. So I'm like, I'm struggling here. But
pull it off while you're good.
I appreciate it. So to linking both is very important, because if you're not in it mentally, your physique is it's going to show.
Well, think about it like this. We are one system, right? As humans, you're not your mind, your body, you're all of it, right? you are, and even if you understand the science behind those stuff you're talking about, like, oh, you want to improve your mental health, go to the gym. Well, that's because there is for example, there's a direct link between, this is a whole thing I could talk about. There's a direct link between your hormones and your mental health. That is called your neuroendocrine system, right? That's the idea that it actually works both directions, right? So your hormones influence your brain chemistry. So for example, I had a guy come to me back probably the beginning of January, out of shape, like very out of shape, on like 4 different mental health medications. And we tried for months to just get in. Can you get in the gym 3 days a week, right? Can you get in there a few days a week? Can you eat like this, whatever? Struggled with all this stuff, right? So after a while, and normally first I would ask somebody to get a blood panel, but he doesn't like getting blood work done. So I was like, all right, let's just try to see how this goes. Right? You know where this is going, right? So we get a blood panel done. This guy's testosterone levels are like that of like a 90-year-old grandfather. And I'm like, has a doctor ever seen this before? And he's like, yeah, like 5 years ago. And I said, so you're telling me the doctor knew you had this problem, right? And by the way, the reason he got the blood work done now was because he went to a urologist because he was having erectile dysfunction to get meds for that, right? Well, the problem is you don't need the Cialis depression meds, ADHD meds, all that. You know what you really need? You need to fix your hormones because your hormones influence all of that, right? So when you have the wrong either ratio of hormones or the wrong just absolute levels of them, that will dramatically affect your well-being as a man and a woman, to be clear, right? So I had a neighbor who was in a very similar situation. He was depressed for, I'm talking 10 years, right? Next door neighbor, he was like 28 when we talked about this. And I convinced him to get a blood test. He comes back, wasn't good. Then we go back in his medical records. At 18 years old, he had a testosterone level of like 280. That's below at 18, not at...
Dude, at 18, you're supposed to be ripping.
Right. So I said to him, and he had tried every SSRI, sleeping med, ADHD med, everything. A year after he started TRT, off literally everything. I'm not even kidding you.
What is the stigma behind, like, why do you think that is? Because I know we're seeing a lot of men go to it now, and I'm a huge proponent of it. I just need to find a way to, like, if they can put a cream on me or something, like,
yeah.
But like, it's so shunned. It's so shunned upon. And when you go to a doctor, the first thing they want to give you is a pill for this, which will cause this, but we also have a pill that will fix that too. And it's like, they're so quick to, and not every doctor, but the doctors I've gone to, they're so quick to throw a Band-Aid on what's happening and not address the actual issue of what can be causing that. And it's funny because I've doctor shopped. You know, a couple of doctors like, oh, well, you have to do this. And I'm like, well, I'm sure there's other options first.
Options,
like, it's like, you're not asking me, how much sleep are you getting? Because I would tell you, I'm getting 4 hours of sleep a night. Is that's what's causing this? Probably.
Definitely.
You know, how is your diet? Hey, my diet's been shit the last 2 weeks. This is what I've been eating. Like, I'm not getting asked any of these questions. And I know what I know, right? So I would like to present this to someone who knows a lot more than me, and maybe we can figure out a solution for whatever's going on. But we don't get those questions. It's always, like, for example, my blood pressure was a little high. I had just come from the gym, and, you know, I don't think about stuff like that, right? I just came from the gym, pre-worked out, you know. I get there and he's like, oh, your blood pressure's a little up. I'm like, oh, it's probably because I'm at the doctor. Ain't that like a thing? I like tried to make it called
white coat syndrome.
Yeah. So I've heard of that. So I make a joke of it, and he's like, oh yeah, it could be. He's like, but I can give you a blood pressure medication. I'm like, dude, I just turned 30. This is when I turned 31. I just turned 31. Like, I don't know if I should be on a blood pressure medication.
Blood pressure is also a tough one too, because blood pressure is not about like it's just a snapshot, right? So like a lot of times, like people take it, if you take it at home, you take it in the morning, right? So you wake up in the morning, you take it. Well, that's also when your cortisol is highest. That's the stress hormone, right? So you wake up, you sit down, you might have been moving around a little bit, right? And you're walking, then you sit down, you take your blood pressure, and it's like, oh shit, like it's kind of high, right? Well, if you sit there for another 5 minutes and you take it like 2 or 3 more times, you're gonna notice it's gonna come down because you're a little bit more relaxed. You take it that first time. It happens to a lot of people. Like I tell my clients all the time, like you take it once, take it again, and then take it again. That third number is probably gonna be the lowest. You can't fake a low blood pressure. You can fake a high one, meaning like you can show that it's high by just being nervous or whatever.
Running stairs.
Running the stairs. Yeah, if we went to the gym and trained and I took your blood pressure right after, it better be high or your body's not working right.
Yeah.
You want to see high heart rate and your blood pressure and stuff go. It should go up when you exercise. Right?
And like it's on me, right? Because I should have been like, oh, I just came from the gym, an hour ago. Whatever. But like,
those are just the questions the doctor needs to ask because like you should know that. How are you supposed to know that?
And I only know that because after I was talking to my buddy, I'm like, dude, my blood pressure is this, and he's like, first thing he asked me, he's like, well, what were you doing that morning? Right. I was like, well, I got up, stretched, went to the gym, got home, showered, went right to the doctor. He's like, well, I mean, dude, within the hour, you're probably still going to be a little up, especially if you just smack some pre-workout.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and I was like, oh, why didn't he? And I'm like, why didn't he ask me that?
Because he isn't thinking that. Like he's not thinking like that, right? He sees issue, solution, issue, solution. You know what I mean? So that's because, people like when you asked about the why do you think it's like that? Why do you think doctors don't ask these questions and stuff? I think it's just like everything in life. Like there's cops that are really good at their job, and there's cops that aren't very good at their job.
That's fair.
There's people that are great coaches, and there's bad coaches, and there's people that are better coaches than me. Like there's levels to everything, right? There's way better metal vocalists than me. There's people that are so.
That's a good point. I apologize. That's a very good point.
No. What I'm saying though is the problem is people look, especially the older generation, they look and they say, doctor, good, right? Automatically should trust everything they say. I'm not questioning anything. And that's it, right? I have had straight up like conversations with doctors about things and been like, and they say something to me and I'm like, that is just not even true. Like, where did you learn that? And they'll be like, oh, I read it. And a great example of this is the way that a lot of people are getting started on GLP-1 medications like Ozempic or tirzepatide or
I just read something that's causing people to go blind.
Well, yeah, and see, like all drugs, the devil's in the dosage, right? So a lot of people are getting really sick. They get especially Ozempic. Ozempic's the worst one on the market, in my opinion. Just when you understand what these drugs functionally do, a lot of people they're just reading a pamphlet and saying, "Oh, start them at X dose," and they start them at that dose. When in reality, you could take a quarter of that and probably still get a lot of the effect, and you won't have those side effects. But they're saying start at this dose. Well, that's not that really. You should start anything. Like even if you never had caffeine before, would you drink 4 cups of coffee or 1? Right?
Probably take a couple sips
first.
Yeah,
take a few sips, and you're like, all right, I like how this feels, or I don't like how this feels. Like you're not going to just slam
a C4 with 320 milligrams.
And that's the problem that happens with a lot of these drugs, whether it's mental health medications or the GLP-1 drugs. People are just given these arbitrary dosages. Oh, just try this, right? It's like, well, everybody's response is going to be a little bit different. And unfortunately, doctors don't really have the ability to sit with you. They're moving through patients fast. My sister's an orthopedic PA. She gets 15 minutes with a patient, right? Like she's seeing 40 patients a day. Right. So you got to think about how fast she's moving through those people. When you work with a coach, let's say, they can take the time to understand your situation, your problems, how this stuff all works together. It's like, wait a minute, like that guy I was talking about with the low testosterone. It's like, wait, you see a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a doctor, like a general, like a family doctor, a urologist. Nobody ever once stopped, looked at your med list, looked at your testosterone levels and said, what's one of the most common causes of depression in a man? Low testosterone. So then, like you said, so instead of treating that issue that would solve literally like most of those other problems, you're now getting meds for depression, anxiety, ADHD, because low testosterone reduces the amount of dopamine signaling in the brain. And you're on all these different medications. Now you're getting Cialis because you have erectile dysfunction, you really just have low testosterone, but you're now taking all these drugs because that's like the symptom. If you think about it like the iceberg, this is like the symptoms up here and the problems down here. And it's, you solve that one problem, you solve a lot of those other issues.
And what are all these medications doing to your body? Yeah, they're all
polypharmacy. That's what it's
dude,
called.
It's just crazy to think about. I was on, and this is a true story, not as extreme or drastic, but I have GERD. Shock to the world.
Right.
Big guy with GERD.
Yeah. That's a whole different conversation.
So dude, they prescribed me something with a P.
That's going to be probably Prilosec.
It's like Prilosec.
It's a PPI. It's what it's called. Yeah.
So I always said
proton pump
Prozac, and people were like,
Prozac's the SSRI. Yeah.
So they're like,
very different medication.
They're like, they gave you Prozac for that? I'm like, I don't know, it's with a P, and they're like, that's not Prozac. So I read what Prozac was. I was like, it's not Prozac.
No.
They gave me something for GERD, right?
Yeah.
And I was on it for probably a year and a half, close to 2 years. Dude, I follow this like medical page, and they're like, "Do you have GERD?" And I'm like, got my attention. And they're like, "Have you been prescribed so and so?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually on that." And it went on about how this specific medication and similar medications like that, like Prozac, Prilosec and all that.
Prilosec, yeah.
You're only supposed to be on it for a very short time.
Correct.
Because in men it causes early onset dementia if you're running it for so long. And like people would make jokes because I would forget, like, not saying that's it. I forget things. That's why everything's in my calendar. But people would make jokes about that, and I'm like, hold on. If I'm, forgetting things here and there, should I be taking this for this long? So I go to the doctor. I schedule an appointment immediately, and I'm like, basically, hey, bro, like, when am I ever getting off this? He was like, oh, how are your symptoms? I'm like, I still get it here and there. I've eliminated the sauce. I would get GERD drinking water, bro. That's how bad it was.
Even when on the medicine?
Not water. So like, that's why I got on it.
I have a very interesting theory for you.
So then I would, let's say I'd eat a slice of pizza one time. I would still get it. And I'm like, I get it. Like this is causing
pre-medicine or even on.
This is on medicine.
Right? I can tell you what your problem was.
So I was like, shouldn't this medicine, like one slice of pizza, I get it has the red sauce and it's probably not the best for me, but I should not be dying off of one slice of pizza. So I read all this. I'm like, it's really doing nothing for me. I go back to the doctor, and basically he tells me like, oh yeah, you should have been off that. You prescribed it to me.
Yeah. Well, how's he going to follow up? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing, unless there's
Don't refill my script.
No, I agree. Let me tell you what your issue probably was. You ready for this? This will blow your mind. So you were still having the problem when you were eating on the medication, right?
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been off it?
Probably 2 years now.
How is it now?
I'll get it rare. Like if I'm on a Vegas binger, I'll get it and then I'll stop eating what I'm eating.
Let me tell you what it probably was. You can have two forms. So GERD's very similar to acid reflux, right? That's the same kind of, they're a little bit different actually, but acid reflux is what's happening from the GERD usually. Basically, you can have it where there's two types of acid reflux. One of them is where you are refluxing too much because you have too much stomach acid that's coming up, right? That's what causes the issues you feel.
Yeah, it starts going into your...
You can have a second one, though, where you have too little stomach acid. Now, do you know what a PPI does that you were taking? Do you know what that does? It limits the amount of acid your stomach makes. Okay? So let's say that you have the kind of acid reflux where you don't have enough stomach acid. Now you're taking a drug to make that worse.
So is my stomach lining messed up?
No, well, there's probably, and there could be like deeper underlying reasons. You could have something like H. pylori, which is a type of bacteria in your stomach, virus, one of the two, I can't remember off the top of my head, but that can cause that, right? Now, I have gone through acid reflux really bad myself when I get stressed out. You know what it is though? It's too little stomach acid because stress, that could be stress. Stress is, a lot of people don't understand this, but stress is like you think of it like a bucket. Stress is not just, I'm stressed out because my relationship's bad or my job's hard, whatever. Stress is, you can think about something called allostatic load. That's the total load of stress you have on your mind, your body, everything. That stress could be alcohol. That stress could be too much caffeine, too little sleep. Your job's stressful. You have a stressful relationship. You're overtraining in the gym. You're not eating enough. Like these are all compounding things. You think of it like a bucket. It just keeps piling up, piling up, piling up, piling up, piling up. And as this bucket gets more full and more full and more full, your body then has symptoms, right? Those symptoms could be things like GERD. It could be heart palpitations. It could be, I can't fall asleep right at night. I'm waking up during the night. All these different things, right? That's the bucket's getting too full and the bucket spills over. Right? The bucket starts spilling over. That's when the symptoms get really bad. Now you have anxiety disorder and all these different things, right? So what you have to do if you have low stomach acid from that GERD, you have to take something called betaine hydrochloride. This can really help a lot. Betaine hydrochloride with pepsin. It's a supplement. What that's doing is it's supplementing your body with that acid, the hydrochloric acid that's in that betaine, helps your body to then assist digesting the meals, right? So a few years ago when I had really bad acid reflux after I went through a really stressful time in my life, I tried taking the PPI, made it 40 times worse. Got with a coach. He taught me all this. This was probably 3 years ago.
I've learned more about GERD speaking with you than I had with the three doctors I went through.
What can happen is that your body just needs might need assistance. If you think about it, you go to Vegas, you drink a lot, you eat a lot of shitty food. What's happening?
You're stressed because you lost a lot of money at blackjack and baccarat,
No,
and then you try to
real.
go to the digital table and then you lose it there too. Hypothetically,
you're stressed out. Your body then is making less stomach acid. So then your body needs assistance to do that, right? And I've seen this I've seen this a lot with people. This is not uncommon, right?
So taking that stuff.
But you're never going to go to the doctor and tell you to do that, ever.
Which it blows my mind. And I have a bone of it. I need to talk to a doctor. I need a doctor.
There's a lot of very good doctors. You should get one. You should get to go on here because I'm telling you, they'd be able to educate you more on this than I can.
I had Dr. Rick on, but I don't know what type of doctor he is. But he was a smart dude. I should have brought this up with him. The dude's creating a artificial pancreas. Like he's in the process.
That's wild.
Dude's and he rolls jiu-jitsu.
That's crazy. Some men are just got it.
It's like, okay, bro, let's flex on two levels. Right. But so you hear about this all the time online, right? Like apple vinegar or stuff like that.
Yeah, apple cider vinegar. That's going to do a similar thing.
So that's going to do another thing where it introduces the acid.
Yeah, so one thing you could do instead of taking, let's say you don't want to take the betaine and hydrochloride. Let's say you're having this issue. And this is the easiest way to test this is to do what I just said, right? What I'm about to tell you. You go to the store, you get apple cider vinegar, 15 minutes before you eat, take a tablespoon of it, all right? If you notice that you eat and then the meal digests better and you're not getting any of those problems, you have low stomach acid, right? Because now you're giving your body more acid to help digest that food. It's not a too much acid problem. If you have too much acid, you'll be more fucked up.
So what you're saying is get pizza tonight.
Get pizza,
apple cider vinegar.
Get some apple cider vinegar and just cross your fingers.
I'm going to text you like, bro.
Be like, I'm hurting.
Or I'm fixed.
I'm fixed. But it is real. There is like, that's what I'm saying. There's not always a need to jump to these crazy things. And you asked me, I think you asked earlier, why is there such a stigma around TRT, right? I think you asked that, right? Because people don't understand what it is, right? Like I had this conversation, literally was out with this girl the other day and she's like, yeah, I take birth control and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, and then she starts talking about like, oh, I don't think people should take steroids and stuff. It's like, whoa, you're taking a steroid, right? And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you're taking synthetic estrogen or progesterone or any of the, there's a combination pills. That's very similar to a man taking testosterone. She's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, actually. And then another thing I love with women too, they're on birth control. They'll talk about their cycle. I'm like, what cycle? You don't have one. You're tricking your body into being pregnant. You're not ovulating anymore. There is no egg released. You're not getting your period like 90% of the time. There are some women that still do it, but like you're getting rid of that. So my whole issue with everything we're talking about is lack of education, right? People don't understand what they're doing, what they're putting in their body. Nobody's ever taught them anything. They don't understand this stuff, right? Like I have girls come to me that I've coached and I'm like, they're taking birth control. And I'm like, and they're explaining, well, my cycle is, you don't have a cycle. A cycle is when a woman is not taking birth control, the difference between a woman, like between me and you and a woman, right? Your levels of testosterone, if you're natural, they pump out pretty consistently day to day, right? Straight line. This is a lot of the difference between men and women in general. Women operate on a cyclical basis. They're usually a 28-day cycle, right? Different phases of that cycle, different shifts in their hormones. And those hormones shifts affect their mood. They affect even the kind of men that they prefer, right? There's lots of women that get on certain kinds of birth control and they date these men, right? Like they start dating this guy, they marry the guy, they come off the birth control to get pregnant and they're like, I don't want to be with that guy anymore because the kind of hormones they were putting in their body influenced the kind of man that they were drawn to, right? So women that are...
That's wild.
No, it's 100% proven. There's studies on this. You can look this up. There are basically 4 parts to the female cycle, right? The first part, wherever you want to say it starts and ends because it's cyclical, but the follicular phase, which is before ovulation, right? Ovulation is when a woman's most fertile. It's when the egg releases. That's when she's most likely to get pregnant. They have rising estrogen levels, right? And after they hit ovulation, and their testosterone is also raising at that point too. Once they hit ovulation, estrogen starts to climb, progesterone starts to go up. Women prefer more comfort and security and stuff like that. And actually, that's why women evolved to prefer 2 very different kinds of men. The more genetically elite guy, taller, jacked, more energetically dominant, and then also the more stable security provider type guy. 2 very different types of people. And a lot of guys can't fulfill both of those roles in today's world because they just don't understand that women are just confusing, right? Women are confusing. Like, she's crazy. No, you just don't understand how her body works, right? Yeah, some women are a little bit out there. I just see you smiling. Yeah, we've both had experience with that, but like,
not
crazy,
on the podcast.
Yeah, no. Crazy is just words that men use to describe a lot of the times to describe what they don't understand.
That's a good point.
And I wish there was more education about all of this, right? And actually, like I was saying, I built a course like this. I literally teach guys all of this stuff in the course, like their own hormones, their nervous system regulation, their body, their mindset, how to, I go through all that stuff. And then I also teach them like, here's the difference between how your body works and a female's body works. Because once you understand that, she's not supposed to be like you. She's supposed to be different than you, right? Remember how I said masculine energy is penetrating the world? Well, feminine energy is receptive. Everything about a woman is receptive for the most part, right? Just the way her body's designed and everything. And a lot of guys are struggling in their lives, right, with their own self-leadership. And then the women they're dating or married to or whatever are very, very unhappy because they're not receiving the correct kind of energetic leadership and stuff like that. And they're deeply disappointed in those relationships. Now, this is where people are gonna be like, whoa, what about these kind of women? But you can have women that are more masculine. You can have men that are more feminine. But very often, more likely than not, men feel better with optimized testosterone levels, right? And that influencing your brain chemistry. And women feel better with their hormones optimized for their own benefit, right? I've seen this countless times, and it's just the way we're designed. We're like if you think about it, we're like an extension, like our own operating system. We have like a computer program, right? If you go into your laptop and something's wrong with that laptop, it doesn't function correctly. Well, it's the same way we are. We're a combination of our hormones, our psychology, our upbringing, our environment. All these different things play into who we are, right? Something's off in that line, like that with your brain chemistry or your hormones or whatever.
The code.
You don't feel, yeah, it's your code. You don't feel right. But a lot of guys don't know how to explain that. They're like, I don't understand what that is, right? They're just like, they're disconnected from that. And so my thing is with guys, like you said, connecting body and mind, I also connect spirit into that because all of us have what I would call like divine masculine, where divine masculine meaning like every man that has ever lived on this earth and will live has these desires to create, to lead, to make a difference in the world, to help, right? We all have those things. But so many men, when your body is fucked up and your mind is a mess, you can't connect to any of that. You're completely disconnected from your spirit, right? So you have to, in the course, I teach guys body first, right? Body's foundation of everything. You fix your body, you eat right, you train right, you learn to regulate your nervous system. Now you have a clear mind, right? Now your mind's operating correctly. Now I can work through things that I was never able to work through before. Now I can understand myself in a way I've never been able to understand myself before. Now I've done that. Now I can focus on like, why the fuck am I here? Like, what am I doing here? Right?
Yeah, it's balancing those so that you can have a clear mission. Because if you're trying to develop your mission when your body's not right, your mind's not right, your mission's not going to be right. That makes sense when you put it that way.
Yeah, because think about it like this. 10,000 years ago, we didn't need a mission. Our mission was survive.
Our mission was hunt, eat.
Kill, survive, raise children, etc. Right? Provide for the tribe. Right? Today, it's a little bit more complex. Right? We have a lot of we're recording this in a beautiful space here. We got lighting in here. We have all these electronics. We have a air conditioned place. I'm still sweating a little bit,
Yeah, same.
but we have a lot of things taken care of to some extent, and we have to create our own purpose. But the things that make us as men feel good and make us feel like we matter is still the same at a deeper level, right? All of us, whether we realize it or not, have a deep desire to be like I read a book, speaking of reading about memoirs and stuff, I read a really, really good book about Alexander the Great back in like April, right? Then I read about Teddy Roosevelt. I've just been reading about a lot more, kind of similar to you. We all want to be our own Alexander the Great had a lot of issues, but our own Alexander the Great or Teddy Roosevelt or insert athlete, insert boxer, insert movie star, whatever, or somebody that changed thinking or whatever. We all want to be our own version of that. But a lot of men they just believe they can't. That nobody ever told them you can, right? You can actually build that for yourself. Nobody's ever told them that, right? Their parents told them, oh, be realistic, you know?
Yeah, and it goes into the mindset shift. And I think you say start with body, but I think you can kind of start with both, right? You start changing how you see things and view things, and that can start the trajectory to change, right? Because I always tell people, man, like, do I have to? People look at me and they send me messages and for advice that I don't have answers to, you know. And I try to give them. I'm just like, hey, this is what I would do, you know. Take that with a grain of salt. But that being said, you start to believe what you think, right? So if you look at your life and you're focused on every problem you have, you're going to find more problems. If you start looking at your life like, man, I have a roof over my head. I have a car that takes me places reliably. If I'm hungry, I can go order food. I can go buy stuff to make meals. You know, you have healthy kids in your life. I have healthy children. You have great relationships. I'm surrounded by great people. You start focusing on the good things, more good things are going to come. It's the law of attraction.
Right.
You start to believe what you think. If you think you're miserable and you amount to nothing, it's going to become true. You're going to start believing that. If you think, hey, I'm great, I can be better, I can make things happen, it'll become true.
One thing you said that I thought was really interesting. You said something like, remind me what you said. You said your thoughts influence the actions you take, or something. What did you say?
Thoughts will influence your behavior.
Yeah. So I teach guys this in the course I just built that I'm about to publish this. But so I show on a slide, and I show this throughout the entire mind module time and time and time again, is your thoughts influence your emotions, which this is for the average guy. This is all happening subconsciously. You don't even understand what's happening. Your thoughts influence your emotions, which influences your actions. You repeat those actions, that influences your identity with time and your life as a consequence, right? So a lot of guys, what you have to do is you have to actually go back to the beginning of that thing, the thoughts. You have to change those thoughts, right? And you have to, but before you can change those thoughts, you have to make sure that those emotions are not dictating your actions, because a lot of guys have a problem with that. They feel tired, they don't go to the gym. They're angry, they scream at their wife. They feel sad, they don't, you know, like, we live in our emotions, right? Part of what stoicism is observing your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and understanding what they're trying to elicit and get you to see, but you are not a prisoner to acting on those emotions, right? So a lot of times guys, like I said, they get so caught up in their emotions. I feel this. A lot of times when I'm on mindset calls with guys, I feel like this. I feel that way. I feel that way. Okay. Well, your emotions were designed. They're biochemical signals from your body they're ancient as hell, because in the time long, long ago, we needed those emotions. There's a bear chasing me. I'm afraid. I should run, right? That's survival. Okay. But now we have all these emotions that we're getting that aren't really our emotional systems are not really integrated for the modern world that we live in. Right. So a lot of our body is that way. Our body thinks it's still 10,000 BC. It does not understand it's 2025, you know? So a lot of the problems that guys go through is they don't understand. Like they say, I feel this way. Well, I understand you feel that way, but you still have to do the things. Like, it doesn't matter how you feel. Right?
Yeah. And that's something I've like my gym's been slacking, dude. I'll go to gym. I'm on emails. I'm answering. I'm doing all this stuff, distracting myself.
Like you're saying, like your gym effort is slacking. Yeah,
my gym effort.
Well, sometimes that's going to happen, man.
So
sometimes there's other priorities.
But like coming back from Vegas, I was like, I realized I've been slacking. I need to hit it. My alarm goes off for 4 a.m. First thing I want to do is
yikes.
But I grab, and that's just what works for me, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I grab it, and I literally looked at it. I'm like, dude, there was a moment in time where that alarm went off, and I kicked my feet off the bed, I have a mirror right by my bed. I'd look in the mirror, and I'd be like, all right, let's go kill it. I haven't done that in months. So, hey, let's go kill it. I'm still tired. I'm still dragging. I didn't get the best sleep, but I'm like, no, the goal at hand right now is gym. Good gym. I had one of the best sessions. Dude, hit chest. I get there. There's no bench open. I'm like, I'm not going to I would let that ruin my gym session, right? Because I'm so fixated on this is the pattern I'm doing. And I'm like, all right, bench is not open.
Yeah, one thing goes wrong,
and
it's like, it just throws everything off.
But like making that decision of, no, this has to be good.
Yeah.
You know? So I go to find another machine. And then luckily one of my boys were there. He's like, oh, no, dude, we have both benches. You can just grab one. First off, why are you taking 2 benches? That's beside the point. If you're listening to this, I'm talking to you. So luckily he gives me the bench, and I'm like, all right, boom, back in rhythm. See, good things happening. And dude, I had one of the best sessions in my life. Then today, same thing. It's just making the conscious decision, not listening to what, sometimes you have to ignore, use your emotions as like a reference. Like, why am I feeling this way? Okay, I'm feeling anxious. Why am I feeling anxious? At the end of the day, I have a roof over my head. I'm fed. I'm making money. I have good people around me. I should not be feeling anxious. I have deadlines. Okay, if the deadlines, worst case scenario, if I don't make the deadlines, I'm alive. Yeah. Still have a roof over my head. Still have good people around me. Like we have to check our emotions a lot.
Most really high performing guys, which you 100% are, go through that.
Thank you.
No, for sure. I mean, you have a podcast, you do a million things. Most of us guys that are high performing like that, our biggest enemy is our self-imposed pressure, right? That's a lot of that is the issues I've dealt with, man. Like I've dealt with a lot of issues from self-imposed pressure, and when you back up, you're like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Like I'm like,
so how do you deal with that? Because one thing I've run into lately, I'll create these deadlines for myself. Yeah. And I think I had a conversation with you, calendar versus reminders.
Yes. Yeah.
So I got 53 reminders, and I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna get all to this today.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Dude, I'm trying, and I'm like, I'm like overworked. I'm feeling like overwhelmed. And I literally sat back. I'm like, at the end of the day, this doesn't matter right now. Like if I get it done, great. If I don't, I can get it done tomorrow. These are all deadlines I've put on myself because of this pressure I've put on myself. And sometimes I have to check myself like, dude, relax.
Well, the deeper question is why is the pressure on you? Right? That's the real question.
Because I'm looking at the end. And what I see my real estate business going to, the podcast going to, like where I want to be at work. Like I'm seeing all these things that I'm creating, this vision that I have. And I tell people, don't look at the end. So to start back planning and focus on the day to day. I'm ignoring that. And I've noticed I'm ignoring that and looking at the end, and I'm not there. So now I'm adding more stuff to get me there faster, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to do.
That's how we burn out.
Yeah.
I've gone through that. I just went through that actually.
So I'm like how do you, when you find yourself feeling overwhelmed and you're in that position of like, damn, why am I feeling this way? How do you combat that, or how do you tell people to kind of process that?
That's one of those things where it's probably better to ask me what I tell people to do.
What do you tell people?
Well, to do? What I try to do, like I'll tell you right now, actually straight up, like I just said I just went through that, and I did, like really. I just went through. I again in the course, and I teach guys this all the time. There's seasons of life, right? There's expansion. Expansion's great. You're thriving. Everything's growing. The podcast is growing. All work's been good. The relationship's good. All these different things. Then there's contraction season. Everything's not good. It's winter, right? You think about it's fall and winter, right? It's life's bad. I just went through a real bad contraction season, right? I got hit from 40 different angles, right? And I struggle with that a lot because the way I'm wired for growth and expansion. That's what as men, we really are in a lot of ways. But the problem is we overextend ourselves a lot of time, right? We add too much to our plate. This happened to me plenty of times. First time I ever went to the hospital for a panic attack when I thought I was dying. I was in the studio recording a new song for Tethra, and my dumbass took an Adderall, drank coffee. I was running a decent cycle of gear, and I had like 10 other things going on, and I'm in the studio. I'm like, all right. I was like all jacked up and knocking the song out. And then I'm like, I go eat, and I'm like, what is that? I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I look up online. I'm like, what is, it's like, oh, you might be having a heart attack.
It's first issue.
Brain. Oh, I took that. So then my producer, Grant, one of my really good friends, he goes, I think you're having a panic attack. I didn't know what a panic attack was. I'm like, no, I'm dying.
That don't happen to me.
I'm like, yeah, it doesn't happen to me. I don't have anxiety. So, I go to the hospital, and the first thing they say to me is, have you had caffeine today? I said, yeah. They're like, they asked me like, did you do Coke? I'm like, no, I've never done that in my life. Like legit, I've never done that. And they're like, did you take Adderall? I said, yes. And they're like, your EKG is totally fine. Your blood pressure is fine. You had a panic attack. And it was destabilizing to me because I was scared shitless. I thought I was dying.
Well, then panic attacks will do that to you.
And when I look back on that, I had just too much going on in life. I had to like pare things down. I had so much stuff I was involved with. Every time I go through something like that, I just have too much on my plate, right? So the problem is for people like you and I, like there's two very different kinds of guys. There's guys that don't do anything. And like that's a lot of what I've taught, or the guys that need to do more, and that's a lot of the guys I help. And there's guys like me and you that do too much, and very different problems, right? But they're both problems. And for what I feel like helps me is just try to look at spotting it earlier, right? Like sleep's starting to get a little, like I'm having a harder time going to sleep, right? Or I'm starting to be a little bit more anxious. Like caffeine's kind of hitting me in the wrong way. Like that stress bucket's getting too full. It's getting too full. You start feeling it. You're like, I just feel like tense. That's what it feels like. You got to start taking the water. You got to drill a hole in the bucket. You got to start letting the water drain out, right? And how do you do that? Well, there's a couple ways you can do that. You got to work on journaling, right? Journaling about why am I stressed about this? And then the deeper level issue is, why do I feel like I have to accomplish this right now? Like, what about me? This is like a lot of stuff I work with myself, and I work with other clients. I've went through years of therapy for this. Why do I feel like I have to be an IFBB pro today? Why does Tethra have to have 500,000 monthly listeners today?
I just want to take a second to shout out a few companies who've believed in me. These were one of our first official sponsors, so huge shout out. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Carbo Jewelers, established in 1997 on the values of honesty and integrity. Whether you're searching for the perfect piece, need expert repair services, visit Carbo Jewelers in Newark's Ironbound District, where your jewelry is always in safe hands. This episode is also brought to you by Continental Jewelers, proudly serving Hudson County, New Jersey since 1964. Whether you're seeking a timeless piece or need expert repairs, they've got you covered. Visit Continental Jewelers, your trusted source for all things jewelry. You can find them on Instagram at Carbo Jewelers or online at carbojewelers.com. Lastly, big shout out to Carbo Trading. Besides coins, precious metals, and jewelry, if it could be traded and collected, he's probably got it. They can be found on Instagram at carbo.trading. You can find all of our sponsors out online on our sponsor page at therelentlessproject.com. Because I am 500 of those 1,000.
Yeah. But like, why is it not okay that we 10x the band this year? Like, which we literally have. We can talk about that in a second. But like, why is that not enough? Why is it not enough that I moved up placings in bodybuilding last year? Why is it not enough that, I can even look at this like from a dating standpoint. Like, how many women's enough? Like, you start to go down this. What is driving that? It's a feeling of inadequacy. A lot of men that are very high performing guys, they have a deep inadequacy. Like, we don't feel like we're enough, right? And rather than, and we run off of it, right? We like thrive on it because we feel like, oh, if I just turn pro in bodybuilding, then I'll be accepted by everybody. If I just blow the podcast up, then everybody will love me. Like, these are the things that we subconsciously believe. No, I'm telling you. I know. You didn't know you're coming into therapy here, did you?
I'd like it. I'm a big proponent of therapy.
No, but really,
especially when it hits you.
It's what I had a realization one day that it's like, fortunately and unfortunately, the reason I became so obsessed with bodybuilding, being successful in writing music and trying to reach people and business and all these things, blah, 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 because I wanted to be accepted. I remember, I'll never forget this. I was flying, I was on a flight, I was listening to a podcast, and this line hit me so fucking hard, I will never forget it. It was, you will never heal internal wounds with external accomplishments. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I literally sat back in my seat, looked around, paused the podcast, played it again, and I was like, I understand myself completely now. Because I'm such a different human being that growing up in high school, I had tons of friends, I was popular and stuff, but like, I never really fit in with any one group. And I'm still like that. You know, I got like my bodybuilding friends, my music friends, my business friends, but like, I'm the only guy that's friends with all those people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like the only guy that's like, no, right. And so I never really fit in with anybody. I was my own, I've always been my own man, right? And ironically, that's like probably the thing about me that's most unique that people like, because I'm like my own guy, like my own man, right? But it's really hard when you're that guy to like feel like you can fit in anywhere, because we're tribal beings. We thrive in community. I have communities within all those, but I'm never going to be just the bodybuilder or just the musician or just the business guy. I'm all those things. And I felt such a need to prove myself for so long, right? And now I've worked through that, and I do these things because I love people and I'm trying to give to the world. I want to help other people. So coming at it from that place has allowed me to reduce that pressure on myself, right? I'm here speaking because I'm trying to help. I want somebody who's listening to this, whether it's on social media or listens to the whole episode or whatever, to be like, holy shit, I actually understand. Like, I feel the same way, right? And mental health is one of those things, man. It does not give a shit how big your biceps are, how hot your girlfriend is, or like how successful you are. There are Chester Bennington, Linkin Park, killed himself. Robin Williams killed himself. These are people that had everything.
The pinnacle of their industry.
The pinnacle of everything. Does not matter that. And there are so many guys suffering in silence out there. There are so many, you'd be so surprised just by me saying, oftentimes just telling a guy, like somebody asked me, how are you doing? I'm like, not great. They're like, yeah, me either. They were not going to answer that until I said that.
You say good, they say good.
Transparency, right? If they can look at me and say, well, Dave's got biceps and a successful band and a business and all this different stuff, and even you can not feel good too. It's like, yeah, we're fucking human, right? All of us. And yes, there is the legit stuff of the hormones and all that shit that I was talking about, but there's also just life, right? Life sometimes fucking happens to us.
Life don't give a damn
Doesn't
about
give a
your
shit.
dollar amount.
Doesn't give a shit.
Nothing.
How tall you are, how jacked you are, how many girls you've been
when
with.
You said that tall. What? I get it.
I feel like I'm on the same level as you right now, so we're good. But
my chair is low. My chair is low.
He put my chair down lower than his. I think that's what it is. But you know, mental health is something that nobody like. I've literally, I'm not afraid to admit this because it's true. There's been times where I've sat there and be like, I would prefer to be dead than alive right now.
But you haven't taken that action, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I never would. I'm just saying, like, I've been there. I've thought that. Like, that's gone through my head.
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy because, like, this is a little talk about transparency. I'm in Vegas, and I get a phone call from my mom, and she's like, hey, did you hear the news? And I'm like, what news? Right? Because my mom, she's Puerto Rican. She knows all the news of everyone. So I'm like, typically I don't care about news because it has nothing to do with me or my family or anything I'm doing. Well, she's like, your uncle killed himself. And I'm like,
Jesus, dude, I'm so sorry.
What? She's like, yeah, he just, drove somewhere and did it. And I'm like,
so this is pretty recent.
This was 4 days ago.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, and like we weren't really close, especially the last few years, but I'm like, you hear about it on social media and stuff. I'm like, this dude like was a great guy and was doing good things and like never really knew he even was going through anything.
That's the problem.
But
suffering in silence.
Yeah. And it's like, that got me thinking. I was like, damn, Like how many other people
Way more than you think.
just don't talk about it,
Way
right?
more than
Because at work I deal with people who, and I'm guilty of this. We get the same call to the same house, and it's like if you just want help, just tell us you want help. We'll get you help. Like you doing these things is not. It's
a cry for
not.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I recognize that, but a lot of times nothing happens, right? Like, oh, I hate my life. I took 10 Tylenols, and it's like, you're not gonna have a headache for a while, but like you're gonna be fine.
You keep doing that, your liver's gonna be fucked
and I'm
up,
like, we'll get you the help you need,
Yeah.
and then we'll go to some calls where you're just like, you talk to the family, and they're like, I had no idea, and I'm like, damn, dude, it makes you reflect a lot because
Do people know what you do? Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I didn't know if we could talk about that. Yeah.
Well, I skim over it.
Yeah.
I'm a cop, but
Okay, I just didn't know if that was.
dude, I'm transparent with everything, dude. I've
Yeah.
had conversations with people who
Yeah.
didn't know I was a cop, and then their attitude changed, and I'm like, you liked me before. Like I'm the same person I am as a cop that I'm not,
I have
right?
tons of friends that are cops.
And that's why I literally became a cop. It's
Right.
like, I'm going to be me.
That's
and
right.
it drives with people sometimes
Yeah.
and it doesn't. But
Yeah.
at the end of every encounter, we have mutual respect. I make sure of that,
That's good.
And I've had people tell me like, dude, if you weren't a cop, I'd drink with you. That's the biggest
what the-
compliment.
what-
No,
yeah.
hey, that's fair. I don't know what your encounter was with police before me,
Yeah.
but that's him complimenting me.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. I
Right.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
right. It's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah. Well, dude, what I've come to realize is, I say this all the time. We're all here for the first time.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to take anything personal because at the end of the day, I'm going to approach people the same way, whether you hate me, you love me, with the best of intention. And if you fuck me over, that's your fault.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
I had a conversation with someone. They're like, dude, something happened. I was pissed. I'm like, I'm gonna call it how it is. I'm gonna call it how it is. And they're like, don't burn the bridge. I'm like, I'm not burning the bridge. If honesty and transparency, like I approach
could
people
not agree
directly.
more.
If
Yeah.
honesty and transparency causes you to burn a bridge, the bridge is burned on one end.
Yeah, that's right.
Not on my side.
That's right.
Right? Like I tell people all the time, I like to joke. I like to, make little jabs at people because it's funny. The type of work I do, our coworkers are like that. I tell people, dude, if I ever say something that's too far or offensive or you just didn't like it, come up to me and tell me.
Yeah, just
I'll
be
cut it
honest.
out.
Yeah.
I'll cut it out because at the end of the day, I don't know what you're going through.
Right.
Right? So people tend to, I had one dude come up to me. He's like, stop. I fucking had enough of you today. Like, please stop. Guess what I did?
Stopped.
I stopped.
Right. Yeah.
And then we
That's the
laughed
difference
about it
between
after.
That's the difference between being a bully and just having
Yeah.
fun.
And I went to him after. I'm like, hey, dude, I apologize. I don't know.
Probably was going through it. He was probably just having a tough day.
You know what he did after?
What?
Apologize.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, my bad, bro. I just had a rough day.
That's
and
exactly right.
And I'm like,
That's exactly right.
And I didn't know that. So my bad.
That's right.
And we both were
You know,
friends.
that's a really tough thing I feel like about being a police officer is you're almost always dealing with people on the worst day, like or a bad day, right? Like it's like I feel like a lot of the times you're pulling someone over, or you're showing up like they're not really going to be in the best mood, right?
No one calls you and goes, hey man, I'm having a wonderful day.
Hey man, I'm having a great day.
Yeah.
I need you to come over here and help me out with it. Yeah, it's like you're not usually going to be responding to something that's positive. I feel like again, I don't know that for a fact. I don't do that for.
No,
a living,
I mean,
but,
unless we're doing something in the community and people
Sure,
come up
right.
and tell you.
That's a way different scenario.
Yeah.
But like you're responding to something, or you're pulling someone over, they're not really going to be having the best time. And that's what you talk about emotions affecting people. That's yeah, and it's unfortunately, there's just I'm sorry again about your uncle, man. That's there's so many men. It's not just even suicide, right? It's also it's called the diseases of despair. It's been progressively affecting men, especially middle-aged. How old was he?
About 50, early 50s.
Yeah, it's pretty common. A lot of guys are in that age range specifically falling into self-harm or alcoholism or drug addiction because this comes back to something I talked about earlier, which is lack of purpose and meaning in life, right? People look at a guy like that and go, how could you kill yourself, right? I was down when I was, right before I left Florida, I was at a party with a group of guys, younger guy, 21, 22, talks about how someone from his hometown in Oklahoma took his own life. He's like, I think that's the most selfish thing you could do. I said, hold on a second. I said, let me explain something to you. When I was 21, 22, I didn't understand that either. It's like after going through times where I actually felt like I'd rather not be on this earth, I understand it. what that is such a desperate level of wanting to escape what you feel that you think that's the only way out. That's what it is, right? That is what people get to. They get to that point. And how they got there, everybody has their own story, right? Everybody has their own thing that got them there. The point is that without meaning, like there is no existence as a human without suffering. There is none. Like we all suffer. We all go through hardship. We all have hard times. But when there is no meaning for that suffering, that's where you lose it, right? There is people, one of the best books I ever read in my life, I might butcher the name a little bit, but I think it's either Man in Search of Meaning or Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor. He was a psychiatrist. He talked about, one of the last freedoms that a human has, even in a concentration camp, was the ability to choose, right? You choose to be happy, or you choose to, view things a certain way. And if somebody who was in a concentration camp and starved can choose to see things in a positive light, then I can choose with whatever I'm going through to see that. So when I go through hard times, what I always think about is, how can I share that here? How can I share that on social media? How can I share that through music? How can I share that and help a guy? Because that's my purpose, right? I'm here to make medicine from my own suffering to help other people. That's what I'm here for. And whether that comes through the outlet of music or coaching or social media or on a podcast, that's what I'm here for. So I can make sense of that. But the guy who has no purpose in life or feels like his life is meaningless, he can't make sense of that, right?
Yeah, it's like I like to make a distinction between pain and suffering,
yeah,
right? Because we use those together, right? Pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Suffering, you're going through something, and then at the other side of that, there's something good, right? Like we suffer at the gym.
Yeah,
you're intentionally putting your body through pain to develop it.
Yeah.
Going through college, people suffer, right? Grades and studying and all this. Going through a new career field, your family dynamic changes, whatever it is. If you're just in it with no outlook on how to get out or a plan on how to get out or seeking help on how to get out, you're in pain. You're just in pain. You're there. You're not very mobile in what you're doing. But suffering, you're feeling that pain with a desired outcome of something good at the end of it.
Beautifully said. That needs to be framed.
Make sure you put that in your PowerPoint.
That's right.
No,
your course, your book, your lyrics, whatever.
That's true, because a lot of times, right, we'll have two individuals going through the same thing.
That's right.
And one is like, man, like I just took a pay cut to go to this new job. I may lose my house. I may, but at the end of the day, it's going to pay out. I have to get through it. I have to get through it. And they get through it. And then you have someone going through it and they're just like, I don't have any money. I'm losing my house. This sucks. What's that? Alcohol. Oh, that's going to temporarily numb this.
Yep. Compounds
Or
the
drugs or
problem
whatever.
Yep.
It's like, a lot of these times we talk about the addiction. A lot of it stems from, no purpose, no outlook, no anything.
Yes.
And this is a temporary escape. I was having a conversation with, I forgot who it was, but they mentioned this. I think it was Ed, actually. Dude, you got to listen to that episode.
100%.
He talked about this study with rats. And it was like Rat City.
Ed was the boxer, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they put one rat in a very small cage, and the only source of liquid he had was some sort of laced with drugs, like some sort of fentanyl.
Yep.
And the other rats had community, multiple rats. They had things to play with. They had water. They also had the same concoction of this drug. And
this comes back to exactly what I talked about
this
earlier.
rat drank it all the time.
Consistently.
And the rats over here, a few of them would come sip it, but then they'd go back to the water and doing whatever they're doing, and they'd drink the water. And they weren't using this as much as this rat was using it.
Yeah. And they have community.
They have community. They have things to do. They have, I don't know, a rat anatomy, but probably a higher sense of purpose, right?
That's what it is.
Where this rat's stuck in a cage with nothing to do but sip this thing.
Yeah.
That's its escape.
Yeah.
It's like, that was very interesting for me.
That's why one of the worst punishments in the old world was exile, right? Because now you're not with the people anymore. They consider that sometimes worse than death, because it's now your
purpose is gone.
Your purpose is gone. You have no connection to people. Yeah. And, Man, it's the purpose thing is really big, man. It's really big because, you know, it's purpose is something that's bigger than you too. It's not like the way I look at, I think, you know, when I turned 30, before I turned 30, like I'm 31 now, I'm gonna be 32 this month.
I'm older than you.
Yeah, I think we figured this out. What about a year, right?
Yeah.
I realized that a lot of what I realized was that I had this realization. I said the same thing like 6 times. I had this realization that a third of my life was over. Let's say if I was lucky enough to live to my 90s, my third of my life was over. And I was like, shit, that's kind of crazy. Like when you think about it like that. And I started to realize, and I think now I've thought a lot more about legacy, right? Like, what do you want to leave behind on the earth? Like, what do you want to do? And that legacy can come in the form of your own offspring and children. It can come through art and music or business innovations or ideas or whatever. Like, you can do it so many different ways. But most guys don't even think about that. They're just moment to moment, paycheck to paycheck. They're just living. They're trying to survive. Life is survival. It's just on that constant hamster wheel all the time. And unfortunately, a lot of guys get to 50, 60 years old, midlife crisis, right? Midlife crisis is this idea that like, holy shit, this is it? Like, this is it.
Let me buy a motorcycle.
Yeah, yeah, right. So again, another dopamine escape, whatever, drug addiction, whatever. Something to fill the void. What is the void? The void is lack of purpose, right? Lack of meaning. That's what it is. And you can't replace that. You can try. Like the rat in the cage, the drugs.
You're still in the cage.
You're still in the cage. You're still in the cage, right? Still in the hamster wheel. Like it doesn't matter. You have to fill that void. I talk to guys about this all the time, and you wouldn't believe. Like my mindset clients I have, we talk about the same things every week sometimes because they're stuck in survival mode. I'm like, you don't understand. This symptom that we're talking about every time we talk is because you have not defined the thing I asked you to think about in between now and this time is your purpose. Why are you here? Oh, I want to be a father. No. That's part of the game to a certain extent. Why are you here? What are you doing here? How are you making this world a better place? What are you leaving behind? Right? I don't know. Well, figure it out, because if you don't figure that out, all these symptoms you have are going to continue to happen. Because you don't know why you're here. You wake up, another day of work. All right, well, I'm just waiting for the weekend. Oh, it's Thursday. All right, well, I guess I can drink a little bit tonight. Like, this is what guys go through. And it's normal. It's not normal.
Here's a fun exercise. In 10 days, you know you're gone. You're dead. What are you doing starting right now in these next 10 days?
I wouldn't change anything other than the fact that I would try to make the megaphone bigger. That's it.
So and that's kind of how I feel, right? It's like, yeah. I love what I do. I love
different?
the people.
No, I wouldn't do anything different.
I would amplify what I'm doing and trying to like.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you just make the megaphone bigger. That's it.
You know, but when you ask this question, I've asked this question to a few people. I haven't asked it on the show. Maybe that's something I have to.
You should ask that. You should ask that at the end of every show.
Because like, what I normally get is, oh, dude, I'd stop doing this. I'd stop doing this. I'd start doing this. I'd go call my mom and tell her
do
I
it
love
right
her.
now.
It's like,
yeah,
you could be doing that, because guess what? Yeah, we all want to live to 90. But you know how many times I've gone to a call where a 18-year-old got hit by a car and died, or a young adult? Like, you know, it's sad, but like, it's sad.
But it happens.
But like, it happens.
It happens as reality.
You know, and it's crazy because how many times do we drive?
We all live like we're gonna live. That's the thing. It's like people live like, you know, the amount of people that talk about, oh, I'm gonna retire and do that. Dude, you don't know that.
Sadly, I don't even see myself retiring.
Right. I don't even want to. I love what I do. Like everything. Like I don't like retiring. Like, you know, like it's funny to me. It's retiring for people who don't love what they do. You know, now I can finally live life. Like, no, dude, I've been doing that in my whole life.
You're 60
what
now.
What a dumbass fucking, what a shitty fucking trade-off, man. Like the way that we set things up in our world, you work a job you don't like for 35 years so you can live at your 60s when you're declining. Now 60 to 80, you can actually enjoy yourself. come on. Like,
and let's be honest, by 70, I'm probably going to be in a diaper.
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I'm already in them. But like,
Your
for
medical
real,
condition does not count.
for real though, it's just this idea of like, I've seen this. I can't tell you, like, especially a big difference between Pittsburgh, where we are here, and Florida is the way that people live. People up here really hook, line, and sinker in a lot of ways. Most of my friends live more traditional lifestyles, 9-to-5 jobs, whatever. My friends in Florida, very unconventional, right? They're making 50 grand a month coaching, you know, all these different things, right? And they just live totally differently.
The money's out there.
The money's there. And that's the thing. But up here, you see, all you know is what you see. Everybody around you does the same things. And, oh, you got to do this. You got to do that. And then it's funny. It's like the people that tell you that stuff, they're the most miserable motherfuckers you ever meet in your life. You're like, why are you giving me advice on being happy or having meaning in life? You don't fucking know anything about this.
Because I am happy.
Yeah, you're like, you know nothing about any of this, right? And so it's just this constant perpetuated thing, and it's where you have to break the cycle. You got to be the person to break out of that. How can I break out of this? And there's a lot of guys that they just lack the belief they can. And the only way to build that belief is to build that belief, right? Like people always talk about, how do I be more confident? You build confidence. You don't just stand in a mirror and say, I'm in good shape. Well, no, you're not. You got to go build.
You be confident.
You have to give yourself reasons to be confident. Of course, I can speak with confidence on this podcast because I've spent years learning this stuff and testing these ideas, and I'm still testing them as I'm speaking to you, right? Like I'm constantly thinking about that. I'm 31 now. I've been a vocalist for 14 years. I've been training in the gym for 15 years, right? Like someone asked me, how do I get my chest to look like yours? Dude, you know how many sets of bench press I've done? Like some form of chest press? Probably millions, right? Like
it's that first step,
it's
man.
that first one.
We want the outcome without the work.
Right. They want to go from like, how do I go from me who never did anything to you who's like 2 steps from turning pro in bodybuilding? It's like, you can't even get to the gym and you want to look like me. Like you don't even understand. They just think, oh, I just run this one cycle, I'll be you. Or it's like, no.
I tell people, I'm not that I'm telling you to do that, but like, I'm like, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Try it. Like all it does is amplify what you're doing.
I don't know if I told this story the last time I was in. This is more really fast story, really funny. I was like maybe 2 weeks out of competing like 2-3 years ago. I was walking in a parking lot after the gym. I was death face, like just peeled. This guy comes up to me. He goes, hey man, just a quick question. I was like, yeah. He's like, do you mind if I was like, sure. He's like, what kind of pharmaceuticals do I need to take to look like you? I was like, what? Like, what do you mean?
Thank you. First.
And he's like, yeah, like what kind of pharmaceuticals do I take to look like you? I said, first of all, I'm 28. You look like you're about 65. So even if I told you what I was doing.
Let's start with Tylenol.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't be anywhere near it, okay? But it's also like this idea is just like, oh, if I just take what he takes. I used to think that too. If I could just take, I'm missing, oh, he's on growth hormone? That must be what I'm missing, right?
Well, how often do we do that?
We do it with everything.
That car.
Yeah.
If I had that car, I'd have the acceptance. If I had that house, if I had that wife, if I had those kids. Like,
I used to do this with music where I would say like, oh, well, you know, he uses a little bit more pitch correction than I do, right? And it's like, well, who gives a shit? Like, he's just a better vocalist than me. When I was younger, I was so unwilling to admit that. That's part of the like thing as a man, like just being willing to admit this guy's better than me. And that's okay. Yeah. I can work to be that.
Yeah.
Right? Or
you just work to be your
like
own.
You had Dom Carter on here, right? When I competed against him at Universe where he won his pro card, he won the overall there. I got 4th. He was first in my class. He's about 37, 38, right? I'm 31. I get backstage. Him and the other guy that got, so first and second home, good friends of both of them now, Joe Davis and Dom Carter. I get backstage. These guys were taller than me, more jacked than me, more masculine looking than me. And I sat there. For me, who everywhere I go, I'm the biggest, baddest.
So imagine how I feel. Dude, I'm in Vegas. Dudes are like, oh, bro, damn.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And then I stand next to you and Dom. Dude, Dom took my door.
That's what I'm saying.
Literally encompassed the door.
I looked at him. I said, I am outclassed right now. Like just truly outclassed. And you know what? I like that because I was like, oh shit, that means I can get better. right? And I realized, I'm like talking to him, you start getting in your head, like, this dude's like 7 years older than me. Like he lived in the shadows of, he just worked and trained for a long time. Like you want to compare yourself to that, right? And that's what guys like 21-year-olds do to me. And it's like, dude, chill out. Like you got your own road to get here. Like you see what I looked like when I was your age, But it's like that. We do that with everything, right? There's always another level. And you know what? There's guys better than Dom, right? Dom goes to a pro show.
So he went to the Pittsburgh. I was going to talk about that.
Yeah.
He got 6.
He got 6th.
Right? So I'm looking up there and I'm like...
Sorry, 10th was his pro debut, I think, in Texas. I'm sorry, Dom.
Yeah. So he gets up there and I'm like, dude.
Yeah, this guy's going to...
He looks fucking fantastic.
Right.
Right? And I'm obviously... I'm all the way in the back, right? Because I was at the expo and I was like, oh shit, Dom's on stage.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. He's about to be on stage. I'm looking. I'm like, dude, he's got it. Right, he's got, hands down. The next dude comes out. I'm like, he's got, dude. I forgot who it was who came out. I said, "Oh damn."
It's probably Terrence Ruffin, the guy that won.
Yeah,
who's about 5'5".
Yeah. So I'm looking at him.
I know him from Tampa. Yeah.
I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah, dude.
Like I'm looking at Dom. Like, dude, Dom got here, got naked. He's like,
Yeah.
are you cool? I'm like, dude, do what you got to do.
Yeah, he probably had to take pictures
Weighed
of the coach.
himself.
Yeah,
dude. Weighed himself. Starts eating.
Yeah.
He's like, can I get 3/4 of a banana? Like,
Yeah.
dude, he's so dialed
Yeah,
in.
that's what we all do. I mean, you saw me. I ate.
Yeah,
I
he's
ate
like,
a
can
perfectly
I-
measured meal when I came in.
Can
here.
I eat?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What am I? No.
No, you got to go hypo during the podcast, and you can eat after.
Yeah, like no.
Yeah.
You need to be completely depleted.
Yeah.
But a perfect example of, you see something and you're like, and then you see something else and you're like, and I'm like, I need to get to like Dom. I'm not 7 foot tall. I'll never be like Dom. Nor do I have the discipline he has to the craft he's pursuing, right? I go to the gym for my reasons. And it's funny because I'll be in my head about it. And again, walking in Vegas, dudes are just looking, they're like, oh, I didn't know security was wrong.
Right,
And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, thanks. Then I'm leaving the gym and this old man comes. He's like, so are you done? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, no, like with the gym. Like, are you just done? I'm like,
Yeah,
thanks.
you won. You already won. You don't have to go back.
And I'm like, thanks, but I appreciate that. Like, cause like we need to hear it too.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear sometimes. Cause I'll be looking at the gym, I'll be looking in the mirror and I'm like, dude, I look like a bag of milk. Like seriously.
I've never seen you and thought that about it.
But like, but that's the
That's what
lies
all
we
do.
tell ourselves.
Yeah,
the
dude.
lies we tell
You have
ourselves.
no idea the body dysmorphia that comes with bodybuilding, man. Phew.
Well, I can't imagine. You guys have to be at a certain level to just even get in the room.
Just to even fight to be in the mix.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you get on stage.
Just to be on that just to be in that first call out nationally, where it's like you're one of the best amateur classic physique guys in the world, right? Amateur, not pro, but you're fighting with guys that turn pro, and then Dom got, I think, 3rd this year at the Oklahoma Pro, right? So it's like looking at pictures and like, okay, like, and he's grown a lot since we competed against each other, but like it's like that actually, Dom was one of the guys that, and Joe, who I also think was like, I want to say 36, I can't remember, but those guys reframed how I thought about bodybuilding. Because I'm like, I'm telling you this, I put so much pressure on myself for the last few years to turn pro. Like,
I know when we were talking, you were like, you actually were, I think you ended up
Just
coming to the
started
realization of like,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to take some time
away.
off.
Oh yeah, and guess what I did this year? I started prepping, and I started my problems, right? Because I was rushing, I was trying to rush, and then just too many other things were happening in life, and I really believe in like divine timing of some sort, whether the universe or God or whatever you want to say. Like, I think there's a time and place for everything, and life's always asking you for different things at different times. And when you start to try to push against that too much, that's where things get. We try to control. That's a big Stoic idea, right? Is separating what you can and cannot control. I can control the food I put in my body, how hard I push myself, how hard I work, what comes out of my mouth as I'm speaking here. I can't control if Dom Carter shows up against me, right? Like, I can't, but I can control being as good as I can. And that's all that matters. And, what I realize is what I probably need to do is just go into the shadows for a little bit for bodybuilding and build my business, build Tethra more, right? Bodybuilding is one of those things that it takes a lot from you. It takes a lot from you mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, emotionally. What else am I missing? Relationally.
Lifely.
Life just sucks the life out of you. Some guys are just more made for it than others. Like, I'm one of those guys that really has to dive my ass. Like,
And his mindset on it too, right? Like, so he gets his placement. He comes out, meet him after. And he had mentioned, he's like literally, I thought he'd be like disappointed or something.
No, hell no.
Dude, he was
Not
like,
that lineup.
he was like, so
ecstatic.
he said, so my height, he had like an extra inch or something that he
so
could have been.
He could weigh more.
So he was like, I didn't realize I could weigh more. So that means I could build my back more. And I'm like, dude, you just got 6 and something you thought you were going to do very well. And he comes out.
Well, he's
so
still
optimistic.
6 is still very good in that lineup.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
No, I know
he
what
was
you mean.
against,
You
like,
think win.
Yeah. He was against like fucking
multiple Olympians.
Yeah. So he comes out and he starts immediately problem solving. He's like, no, I could do this. I could do that. I need to build my back more. I think I got more weight I can put on now. I'm like, dude, if you can
bodybuilding is
apply
also
that.
one of those things where you can show up and you can be in a lineup where there's just not that many guys that are, like, it's just less competitive and you can win. You could take that same physique and put it in a different lineup. He wins, goes to Olympia, right? So like the show matters a lot. Like that was a very competitive show. Same with New York Pro. Same with like Chicago. It just depends.
He
on
literally went to New. I think he went to New York.
Did New York.
After
Well,
that.
yeah, because that's the common circuit. Is he did Pittsburgh and New York. They're week to like they're back to back, and then he did Oklahoma. I think after that. But then there's like later shows like in the year. But basically what I'm trying to say is that you can show up at lineups and like that's the thing. Like I know guys that have turned pro that had worse physiques than me.
Well, and that's
Like,
the thing.
because
I've always seen it in the Insta profiles. IFBB Pro, and I'm like, not to take away from it, but I'm like, oh, anyone could just
Someday
get.
I might be that guy that turns pro in a bad lineup, so I need to shut up. But I'm saying like bodybuilding is all about who you're against that day. I've seen times where there's guys that it's like, wow, like all 5 of these guys in that top call should be pro. And they do eventually, right? Everybody, you get there eventually. It's a matter of why do you feel like you need to be there now? Why do you have to be there?
You talk about the divine timing and like life is a process. We're in a constant process. There's this book I want you to read. I don't know if you've read it. Don't Believe Everything You Think.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've read it.
I've told you about it. You need to read it, man.
100%.
It talks about this unlimited intelligence or God or divine nature or the universe, whatever you want to call it, and how like we as people ruin the plan for us by doing it our way.
That's right.
And I'm a God-fearing man, so I wholeheartedly believe that we're in a process, right? And sometimes we try to fast forward the process, and with that comes a lot of lessons.
Every issue in my life has been from what you just said.
Yeah, and we learn lessons through that, right? But if you maintain and you remain relentless, your success is inevitable.
It is, yeah.
You just have to, and I always ask, especially the fighters, I'm like, what does relentless mean to you, right? Dude, and someone said is basically, I'm summarizing it, remaining on the journey with the same attitude, right? Like whether you lose, whether you win, the same attitude of pushing forward, remaining positive, problem solving, because what we see with especially musicians, how many times do we see a one-hit wonder and we're like, whatever happened to this dude? Or we see people who are like, man, why aren't they big?
Slow burn.
And then they just disappear. And you're like, man, if they would have just
But then you got like this year what happened with us where like we agreed last year. It's crazy because when I did this podcast last year was right when I was getting back into it, right? Like back into Tethra. I think I just come from the studio like a few days beforehand, and then I went back to the studio to finish. And so those 4 songs we've released 2 of them this year. We have another one. We're doing music videos for them in 2 weeks. And then we're recording new stuff. But we agreed as a band, we sat down, we're like, hey, like we love this. Like we need to get back at this. Like we have so much potential as a band. We're wasting this right now. And we agreed, like, look, what we're gonna do is something that works for everything, being consistent, posting more, right? Just doing. So I went through and chopped up all these music video clips and we made a bunch of content and stuff and just all this different guitar content, all this different stuff, right? And we started posting. I started January 1st. January 1st, posted the first. We cleaned our Instagram up, cleaned the TikTok up, started fresh. January 1st, we had 1,000 followers or 1,100 followers on Instagram and like fucking 50 on TikTok or something. Today, we have 14,700 on Instagram and like 2,500 on TikTok. We had 20,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. We got up to 115, 120,000 at one point. We're riding like on average between releases like 80,000. And this mainly happened because we started posting this content. We posted one of the clips of the 1,000 Mouths music
Classic.
video. Yeah.
Go listen to it.
And the clip got like 40,000 views. Somebody tagged this really big creator. And this creator was like, oh shit. So he does a reaction video to it. There's now like 2,500 reaction videos.
Well, I was on TikTok, and I saw. I remember specifically it was a chick, and the song wasn't playing, and it was like, why hasn't someone told me this existed? And the song starts playing, and I was like, I know that song. Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
I know both those guys.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah.
I'm like.
Well, it's funny. Justin actually wrote the drums for that, but he never performed it in the music video with us. But then he came back. Like, so we actually wrote that cover was written under Unparalleled Hype, but we released it under Tethra.
I saw,
and we got Justin's permission. We we're like, listen, we want to do it. And he was like, fine, whatever. He was like not doing music at the time at all. And then what's cool is we brought him back, and now we're doing this all, and we're doing it bigger than we've ever done it. And the thing is, it's like, there's plenty of these bands where it's like, it's funny, you come back to that pressure thing and timelines of everything, right? It's like when we were at 20,000, it's like, all right, how do we get to 50,000? And then we got to 120,000. I'm like, okay, where's that next level? Where's 250?
250.
That's 250. All right, now 250, now I want 500. Like, and again, it's about that. It's like that. You're always trying to find that next level, right? Someday I turn pro in bodybuilding, I'm gonna be like, oh, I haven't gotten top 5 at a pro show yet. If I keep competing or whatever, it's just there's always another level to things, and you're just trying to always like go that next level. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's
the goal.
The goal, the process. You're trying to compact. Alex Hormozy, great quote about this. He's like, you're trying to basically something to the nature of you're trying to accomplish 10-year goals in like 6 months, right? Like these things I'm talking about, like 500,000 monthly listeners. Turning pro in bodybuilding, building an empire of a business to help men, like all these writing books. Like these are things that like the average person doesn't get one of in their life. And you're trying to do all of them, right?
That's
and
a good point.
But see, that's where I run into issues. Because outside looking in, they're like, oh, you've no clue the shit that goes through my head. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and when I don't, and then so what really happens to me is I'm such a high performing guy that when I'm disconnected from that, it's like I don't even matter, right? It's like how terrible I feel because I'm not able to perform like I want to, and that's again, it's giving yourself permission to not to be a human. You're not just a machine. We're not artificial intelligence. I pop ChatGPT open, it's going to work at 3 o'clock in the morning the same way it does right now. We're not like that. We're not machines. We are human, right? That's what we are. We have to give ourselves more grace with things, right? We have to be more patient and understand that everything I've ever done from building my body to like, if you ask me if I could go back in the progress I've had in 15 years in the gym, if I could have got that in 3 years, would I do that? I would not do that. No,
because you lose a lot of the lessons and things that come with that.
And the satisfaction.
And I've told this to people. I actually said this last episode. If you give me $1 million right now, here's $1 million, boom. High chance that $1 million gets gone and wasted, destroyed, right? Because I'm going to be like, well, let me buy this stuff for the podcast and make it better. Right. Let me throw this at my car. Let me pay off my house.
Ethereum's looking real good right now.
Yeah,
buy 20 grand in Ethereum.
You know what I mean? Like, because to me, it's just $1 million.
It's windfall. That's what it is.
But if I clawed my way to $1 million, I'm going to be more efficient and effective in how that $1 million is applied because the blood, sweat, and tears that came with that $1 million and all the lessons I learned between it. And like, in building that $1 million, these are the risks I took and these are the losses I took. Let me be more mindful in how I'm applying this. I could probably build that $1 million to another $1 million, but because I earned my way there. That's with anything.
That's the case. Like whether it's music or a podcast or bodybuilding, whatever, there's like a tipping point, right? Where like there might be a certain number of episodes or whatever. It's like I remember Chris Williamson talking about this. He was saying like he did like, I don't know how many episodes. It was some absurd amount of episodes. And like then 1 month, all those episodes were eclipsed in terms of listens in 1 month over like a year's by just a singular month at one point. And that was like the tipping point. And then it just everything, you know what I mean? Just like compounded from there. And for every one of us, that possibility exists. The problem is people stop at 52.
People stop at 21.
They stop at 21.
Over 90% of podcasts fail before 21 episodes.
Yeah, no, I 100% believe that. they just do not, they won't stick it out. And that's whether it's a podcast episode, amount of singles released as a band, books written, whatever it is, like whatever your thing is or your things, like for me, that's why I was very intrigued by Teddy Roosevelt. Like, man was like, he wrote like 40 books. He was a bird watcher. He was actually into bodybuilding back in the 1880s. Like, he was like building his physique. He was very interested in that. And the guy was like a statesman. Like, he was such a unique guy. Like,
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's an absolutely insane guy. He got shot giving a speech and finished the speech. Crazy man. Just a total badass, right?
That word that we don't understand, crazy.
Yeah, just a total badass. But my point is that like people they won't put the reps in, right? Like they won't put the reps in. I see this all the time with people in the gym. Oh, I've been doing this for 5 months. Really, I've been doing it for 15 years. So.
And it may take you 20.
And it might take you. It
may take you 10.
It might, to turn pro, it might take me another 2 years. It might take me 3 years. It might take me a year. It might be the next time I do it. I have no idea.
Yeah, and that's why I always tell people.
And that's kind of the cool part.
Be intentional with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I'll talk about the podcast. If I came in here and half-assed this episode, right? This dude hit me up a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Let's just talk. I got some shit I want to talk about.
I'm like, let's go. Let's do it. Right? If I would have come in here like, whatever, let's just bullshit, whatever. This is an extra episode.
Yeah.
In 5 years or in 12 months, this is still on the internet.
That's
People
right.
are going to, if, God willing, I take off or the podcast does well, every single one of my episodes are up for the internet.
When you run for sheriff and then governor someday, then it's going to be.
But my whole point is always be intentional, good intention with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And my first episode does not look like my 102nd episode.
No, man, you didn't even have this up here last
Yeah,
night.
I didn't have TV.
That's right. Yeah.
Constantly perform at your 100%, whether it's down here, up here, wherever it may be at that day.
100% looks different every day.
Give it your best intention because you're putting something out. You're putting yourself out, and it's going to be seen.
That's right.
Right? And whether it's seen or not, someone is going to be affected by it.
Well, and the other thing we do too is like a lot of people when they start something, they think it's got to look like this. Like, look at this setup, it's great. But like people think like, oh, I gotta look like this.
And then I see another, and then am looking at another podcast like, I gotta be like that. You know what
Rogan's setup looked like when he started?
He's got a warehouse, dude.
Yeah.
Funny stuff. I'm looking for warehouses.
Yeah. Right.
I'm like, I want to have a little jiu-jitsu mat, a gym, a little, someplace we can come in and
when
chill.
When he started, he was sitting around on the couches and they're recording. It looked like shit. And it's like, you don't have to start. Like the first music I ever recorded sounds like shit, like compared to what it does now. Now it sounds like as good as anything out there because we have the budget. We can go to the.
Your shit is
thank you. I'm saying even just production quality. I'm not even saying that the music's all about the person listening to it, right? Funny story. I just had this thought in my head. I remember one time years ago, I was like, we had just tracked the first Tethra album. I was showing it to my cousins, and my aunt like walked past and she was like, have you ever thought about like not screaming? Like maybe you guys would be good then. I was like, thanks. Like, it's like, I appreciate the extremely backhanded way of saying that, but it's like, but when people say stuff like that, it always cracks me up. It's like, there's a whole world out there of like shit you don't even understand. Even like
it's so funny because I'm playing this at work while I'm listening to reports.
Yeah.
And the dude next to me is like, oh, dude, who is that? I'm going to listen to that at the gym.
Justin.
I was like, oh, dude. I was like, and Justin was, I think, sitting in the other computer. I was like, that's Justin on the drums. I'm like, this is the band he's in.
Oh, I don't like it anymore.
Dude, he's like, no. He's like,
I'm kidding.
Dude, he's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Dude, it's so funny. Months later, I go to the gym and this dude is there before me blasting Tethra. And I don't know it's Tethra because it's a song.
You just hadn't heard it. Yeah.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
I go in there, I'm like, oh, dude, what is this? He's like, oh, it's Tethra. I'm like, you're fucking playing Tethra.
Well, what's crazy is I could look this up, but it's like so every week Apple Music, I guess, bought Shazam or whatever, I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It'll tell me like how many times I'll get like a weekly email and it'll tell me how many times like we were Shazam that week, right?
People are trying to find the song.
People are trying to find it. Yeah. Like last week was like 150. And then the week before that, 149, right? 157, 96. Like you're just like seeing this, like somebody's playing this shit. Like people are like Shazam. Somebody's playing it somewhere,
and someone is trying to find out.
Yeah. Right. Which I mean, when you think it's like, oh, it's not that much, but like that means that somebody's playing it in a gym or something where they can hear it, a car, whatever it is. Like somebody's hearing it and they're like, oh, that's cool. I wonder who this is.
You say it's not that much. Imagine 150 people in here in this room saying, hey, what's your song? What's your song? Dude, you're going to be like.
What's crazy is that I saw like because like I said, this year's been crazy for us. Since last year at this time, we've had 440,000 listeners. And I realized I could go to Penn State, the football stadium, and fill that place 4 times. That's 440,000 unique listeners. Like, yeah, to some bands, that's like, that's nothing, right? To like Taylor Swift, they'd be like, oh, come on. But like,
she gets that a day.
440,000 people filling that stadium 4 times over.
It's wild.
That means that there's 440,000 opportunities for me to try to get across some deeper message that I'm trying to. And that's the whole thing. It's like, it's just time, repetition. Like if I stopped 5 years ago, this would never happen. And probably 3-4 years from now, I'll think that's nothing, right? That's how it works. But you got to keep going and moving forward. That's the whole game. And that's it in life. Whether it's bodybuilding, you just got to keep, even you're going to get setbacks, you're going to have setbacks, but then you just got to keep going at some point, you know?
And talking about keep going, what is next for Tethra? What do you guys got? Yeah. You're talking about songs being released and recording. You're up here temporarily.
Yeah. So he's
staying.
Flip back and
he's staying.
No, you couldn't pay me to stay,
Pittsburgh
man. If I had to stay through January and February, it would be not be good. Let's just put it that way. So I'm going in the studio like 12 days from now. We're doing new music. But then, so I'm going out there for like 4 or 5 days. 2 days, new music. The next 2 days, the rest of the guys are coming out and we're doing music videos for the other songs we haven't released yet. We will release a song in the fall, and then we have something cool planned for Christmas.
Dude, just release them, man. I hate you musicians, dude. You have 50 songs in your computer and they're not out. Why?
Because Spotify and how just the way that like songs go. Like if you release things too quickly, that last song will never catch any kind of momentum, right?
I'd be relieved. That's probably why I never succeeded in my music career. Just dropping bombs 24/7.
Just constantly, day after day. But then there are artists that do that and it works for them. So I don't know. But so we're dropping that. I'd say around Halloween time. As of right now, the plan is on Halloween.
Can you give us a secret? Like,
yeah, maybe on Halloween. And then we're planning to do something. As of right now, we're planning to do something for Christmas, and then we'll have another new song early next year. And then the stuff that I'll be doing now will be like, so we're trying to do like a song every quarter, basically, for right now. That's like our goal. Yeah, I know.
What about a month? Song a month. That's not crazy.
That's 12 songs a year, man. That's a lot. That's a lot of music. That's a lot of music.
It's a lot of screaming.
That would be cool. That should honestly, at some point, that should be like one of our goals. I think that would be really cool. A song every 2 months or a song every month.
I would agree.
That'd be awesome.
I'm not. I'm
you
not
want to write it,
but
and produce it for us. Yeah.
I can produce it.
You could. We'll come in here and track these. These mics work really good for screams. But yeah, so that's the plan right now, and you know we're growing it's like one of those things. It's like when you're in the gym and it's like you find that split that works for you, that where those calories are. Just keep it. Don't screw it up. Just keep going. Right. So we found a split that we found a setup that really works for us. And we're growing, and we're just doing that. And we're seeing really good results. And that means to me that I'm getting the lyrics and stuff. My medicine is now in front of more people, and that gives me more opportunities to help people. It's not just about like, oh, we're growing. No, there's soul in the songs. There's a lot of meaning in these songs, especially the next song we're going to release is like really deep.
What's the title?
So the reason I'm laughing is because we're actually having a disagreement about this right now. There's 2 very different names we're rolling with, but basically the concept of the song is like essentially it was the last time I went through a really hard time, and the idea is that basically like I'm going through this really hard time. I'm trying to remember the lyrics off the top of my head right now. It's so hard when you're talking. It's like if I started singing, I can remember. But like basically this idea that like...
Take it away.
No, this idea that... not enough pitch correction. This idea that like when I'm going through this hard time when I was in that season, and you want the next day to be better, but it's not. You wake up, darkness is still with you. right? And you're just holding on with this concept that one day that'll end, right? Like that it will get better, but it's not today, right? And you're just holding on. And usually, my music is very uplifting, more so. But I wanted to write something that was a little bit darker because a lot of people go through that, and I know that like I went through. It was really important for me to voice that and to talk through that. It's like I don't usually do that, you know.
Through the darkness.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that should be the name actually. But we're debating the names of it right now. We have the artwork pretty much done. We just got to figure out the name. But this idea is that like, you know, in life, like you're gonna suffer, all right, like we talked about, and you're also gonna love, and life will also be great, but you're also gonna suffer, right? So it's like to expect otherwise is foolish, and I think that's an issue I run into a lot. But I'm really this song is different sonically a little bit. It sounds different than the other stuff we've been putting out this year, and I think it hits a lot deeper. Like the last song, Desperate Eyes, is more about like a breakup, and this Battles I Behold was more about like my own quest for legacy. And funny enough, actually very similar to Relentless, which is the song on this podcast. But,
yeah, if you guys don't know,
yeah,
the voice at the end of I got permission.
Yeah,
I got permission.
He paid a lot of money for those rights.
They're just very kind to me.
He just lets me come on here and run my mouth.
They're very kind to me. I will say that. Is written by you guys.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I was finding a song, I actually had a song that someone wrote for this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sorry I didn't use it. But when Justin showed me this, dude, something lit up in me.
Like,
I was like, dude, this is literally, it embodies everything I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yep.
And like, what other song would I use?
That, man, I was like 21, 22 when I wrote those lyrics.
Dude, so it's like, it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is like, how much am I going to get dinged for this? He's like, dude, we've grown and stuff like that. And all this stuff, we're on a great path. Like, this obviously don't make you guys look dumb.
Yeah.
Which I can't, you guys are doing, you're killing it. But yeah, you guys under unparalleled heights.
Height, correct. No, not S, but height. Yeah.
Height, unparalleled height.
Yeah.
Wrote Relentless.
Yeah.
And that's the song at the beginning and at the end of the Relentless Project.
Yeah. Well, really the shame with that song is that when you talk about like sitting on music too long, really hard lesson there was, to me, that was the best song from that album that we made. Never got the light of day, right? Like we've actually talked about taking that song and like redoing it under Tethra.
Yeah, why not?
Because, well, we might, honestly, because we think we could do a better job with it, and just it'd be cool to. We've really toyed with the idea, like
when you say do a better job,
just made the production better, maybe just tighten it up a little bit, make it a little bit more modern and stuff. But you know, then there's other part of us like, well, we wrote that at that time in our life, like maybe we should leave it in the past, like you know, we've thought about it, but like I love that song, and I feel like it just never. That's a whole different story. We wanted to release it as an album. We were working with a manager at the time who's just a total bullshit like con artist, and sit on it. We sat on that album for like 3 years, dude, like 2-3 years. And we split it into 2 EPs. The first EP got a lot more attention than the second. The second EP got like no fucking attention at all. And I regret that a lot because Relentless is on the second one. And that album is like, it was like the first album. When I made that album was made at a very crucial time in my life. Like I was young, I was like 21, 22, and I was really afraid of like, what is my life going to be? You know, that was.
In my opinion, I think it would be cool, right? It's a testament to remaining relentless.
Yeah.
Releasing it.
I agree.
And
well, trust me,
from this point of your life, right? Because you've learned a lot of things and gone through different things. I don't know, Relentless V2.
Well, it's fun. It's funny you say like the song we released earlier this year, "The Battles I Behold," is a very similar concept to Relentless, right? And it's this idea that like, I'm remembering the lyrics, but it's basically like this idea that, like in Relentless, the chorus is, "My faith has gone away, my fear has come to stay. I stand alone, betrayed. There's nothing left. Make me relentless." Right? It's just basically this idea. Which actually, when I got chills saying that, because at that time in my life, that's exactly what I was going through. It was like, I lost faith in myself. Like, where am I going with my life? I was afraid. But I understood at the end of the course, like, I understand that you have to be relentless, right? Like, I could see That's the thing that's funny about life. That's like 10 years ago, right? 2015, we recorded that stuff. So it's exactly 10 years ago. You think you're going to get to where we even are now when I was 23, right? Like 2 years later or something. And some guys do, right? Some people do. Some people blow up quick in music and bodybuilding, all these different things. That's never been the case for me. I've always had to be the gritty guy. I've always had to be the guy that worked my ass off. And I think when I look back on it, nobody, if I wasn't that guy, who the fuck would listen to me? Like, why would I listen to what you have to say? You're just genetically gifted, or you're just like, you're born like that. Like, no, I sucked. I was a terrible vocalist. I didn't look great as a boy. I've had to work for everything I have in that capacity.
Well, and those are the best stories, right?
That's
like,
what I'm saying. That's
when
why I
you're
can coach
looking into
people.
someone,
Yeah.
and you're like, wow, look at all the things he went. Look how long he's been doing this.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you blow up, right? People don't just start listening to what you put out from there on forward. They start looking back. Like, who is this guy?
I always have said, I really think when you talk about divine timing, I was not supposed to turn pro in bodybuilding yet for one simple reason. And I think I might have said this. I might have said this last year when I was on this podcast, but I don't remember exactly. If I turned pro in bodybuilding last year, I would have never got back into music. I would have not written this book I've been working on. I would have not pivoted my coaching to be more comprehensive. That's the shit I was meant to do. I'm meant to do all those things. I'm not meant to be just a pro bodybuilder. I'm not Dom. I'm not those guys. Like, I'm not those guys. I'm Dave, right? Like, I'm me. I'm not just the Tethra vocalist. I'm not just the coach. I'm all of those things. That's what's always made me unique, right? And for years though, I 100% looked down on myself for that. Like, oh, I'm never going to be the top bodybuilder in the world because I'm not that, or I'm this thing. No, what my goal is that I just make the world a better place. And that's it. In any way that I can do that, to inspire guys or literally work with them to do it, or somebody hears my music or whatever. Like, I don't know if I told this story last time, but a few years ago, this dude from, I think it was Argentina or Brazil or something, sends us a picture on Instagram. He's got Masochistic Healing, which is one of our songs, like our top original song, tattooed on his neck. I'm like, what's the deal with that? You know, he's like, I was suicidal till I heard that song. I was like, that's it. That right there that's the whole game. Like, that's what it gave me chills, because I remembered sitting in my room when I was like 15, looking up song meanings constantly. Like, what does this song mean from Bullet for My Valentine or whatever, you know? And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to be the guy that makes.
And talk about the butterfly effect, right? Yeah. Like, you affected that guy. Who is he affecting?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why I call it the ripple effect, right? It's like butterfly effect, ripple effect, whatever. You don't just affect, I actually, my grandmother passed back in July, I think it was. What are we in, September? Yeah, it was July. I've given the eulogy for all three of my grandparents. I talked about in that eulogy how, because it was my last grandparent, how, you know, there's this ripple effect. Some people with their legacy, it's something like me, I've made music, and, you know, by the end of my life, hopefully multiple books and just lots of different things, right? With someone like my grandmother, it's the ripple effect. It's how she affected me and how the man that I am because of that. She might not have made anything like that or whatever, but she made me different, right? And that's what people do. And that's what a lot of people do. Not everybody makes art. Not everybody makes podcasts. Not everybody writes books and things, and that's fine. Some people just make the world a better place by being who they are.
Yeah, and I think that's something to mention here too, because a lot of people who listen to this aren't fighters, aren't artists, aren't, you know, but you are a mother, you are a father, a brother, a sister, a nephew, an uncle. Like, we all have a purpose.
Yes.
And finding that purpose based off on conversation, which is, I think is perfect. Finding that purpose is it means the world to someone. You know what I mean? Like, even if it affects, and I hear this a lot. Actually, I was looking on Reels, and someone was like, oh, if I affect one person or where, and someone was making fun of it. They're like, oh, every podcast. And I'm like, isn't that the goal though?
Yeah, it's
like,
the whole goal.
Isn't that what we want to do? It should be to help people. I have found I've had money. I've worked for the NBA. I've had cool titles. I've had all the money. Oh, dude, I've never found more joy than in helping people.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what we're made to do. Look at the rats in the cage.
Honestly, man. I feel like that is what we are designed to do.
We are. Look, and just you understand like how we're wired. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a platform, right? The most influential people in my life haven't even had social media.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, what are you doing every day to better the community around you?
That's like I said, like if you when you asked me like what would you do if you had 10 days left, I just said I'd have a bigger microphone.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I wouldn't change I wouldn't change the lyrics I write, nothing. I would change nothing because I look at life like that. Like I look at everything. My grandfather, when he passed, he used to say to me all the time, he used to say, I have not a single regret. The man was like 95 years old. How could you say that? Right? Like, and I think about that all the time. Like, what will I regret more? Right? Like, why I regret not doing this or doing it or whatever. Most of the times you regret things you didn't do. You don't regret things you did because things, even if you don't succeed or whatever, like I've had multiple businesses I've failed at. I never regretted any of them because they taught me an immense amount of things, right? Even like, you know, you talk about like failed relationships or whatever, like you learn so much from them. And I wouldn't be able to say half the shit I do here without going through that stuff, right? That's not what makes, like I said, like when you blow up quickly, yeah, it's cool, but I'd rather have the slow burn, right? Like I'd rather be someday some kid, you know, I'm speaking in front of thousands of people or on stage with Tethra or whatever. Like I can say like, yeah, dude, I went for like 10 years without much result, you know, like with some of this stuff, I had no money for a lot of my 20s, like none, you know, because I had a lot of ups and downs and that's part of the game.
No regrets, man.
That's right.
No regrets.
That's right. Maybe that's where we should leave it.
Well, in that, where can people follow you online if they, you know, they want to listen to your music or get a hold of you for coaching or they kind of like the messaging you've been putting out? Sure. Like, man, this is someone I feel like I need to reach out to.
So I have multiple different accounts, but just, if you go to my main at the David J. Kelly on Instagram, everything else is linked there. Tethra, my coaching, all that different stuff is linked right there. You can find me there. And that's the best place to get in contact with me. And no matter what you want to talk about, you know.
And we talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If I don't know if I asked you this last time, this is another way that the show has changed.
Okay.
If whoever is listening to this, right? They were driving, they were at home, they were at the gym, wherever, they finished the episode's over. If you can leave them with one final message, what message do you want people to take from this podcast?
It's not over. Like, no matter where you are right now, like you're not finished. Like you're not a finished story and you will not be for the rest of your life. So if you're really down right now, you have a chance to, my uncle said this to me yesterday, in high jump, you have to squat really low to jump high, right? So sometimes sometimes life's going to bring you down before it brings you up. And the same thing's true if you're up, you're probably going to come down. So understand that life is an up and down thing and we all suffer. And if you're in a dark time right now, if you're going through a hard time, there's people there that will help you. And I want there to be less people like your uncle. And I want there to be less people that are addicted to drugs. I want there to be less people that are starving for meaning in life. I want there to be less people hurting. So hopefully I'm doing my job in making that happen. That's what I would say.
Well, I appreciate that. That's deep because I know once you're in it, it's easy to be like, well, this is it, you know, but
I've been there.
If you just tell yourself one more day, one more day, and then one more day, and then one day after that.
If I didn't have such good friends and family, like in those hard times, I don't know where I would be, you know, like, so that's another thing is there's people there that'll help you and you wouldn't believe the amount of people that'll help you. You just ask for it, you know,
even if it's a stranger.
Yeah. I know I've talked about all this stuff about hormones and stuff, but like sometimes you just got to get through, you know, or get to somebody like me that can understand this stuff and maybe take a look at some things and say like, oh, you got this off or whatever, but just grabbing on for sometimes it's like you're gonna need a life raft, you know?
Yeah. Hang on. I appreciate you for jumping on, man. Such a heater episode.
Yeah,
for just
that is so good.
coming on in and talking, man.
I told you last night. I said that's in my opinion, like all the podcasts I've done, like that's usually the best. It's just
coming in and
shooting from
raw dogging life.
That's right, man. We're meant to penetrate life.
Yeah.
That's we'll end on a more positive note. That's good. Yeah.
We're meant to penetrate life, so go. Never mind. Go penetrate. I appreciate you for jumping on. This is the one with David Kelly. If you don't follow the Relentless Project, please do, because from there you get to hear cool stories from people like David. It's Relentless PRJCT on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Go follow, show some love. I appreciate you for jumping on.
Thanks, brother.
This is the one with David, another one with David Kelly, and we are out. Later.